The following is a presentation of ABC Sports. In 1984, from Sarajevo, Yugoslavia to Los Angeles, California, the ABC Olympic tradition continues.
ABC Sports presents the World Series. Live from Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Game number 4, the Orioles against the Phillies. Last night, typical Baltimore situation player Benny Ayala comes through with a clutch hit to bring the score to 2-2. And then, with Dan Ford up, this shot off Ivan De Jesus, and in comes the runner with the lead run, Ayala again. Then the Birds relievers took over and stopped the Phils. Jim Palmer and Sammy Stewart and Tippy Martinez. And so the Birds won it 3-2. So we're ready for game number 4. And, of course, to recap, game number 1, the Phils victors 2-1. Game number 2, the Birds 4-1. Last night, as seen, the Birds 3-2. The remaining games today, here in Philadelphia. Tomorrow, again in Philadelphia. Monday, an off day. Tuesday, if necessary, back to Baltimore. Wednesday, if necessary, back to Baltimore. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to game number 4 of the series. No need to stress the importance of this one. Should the Phils lose, the Birds will be in a commanding position. I do want to emphasize, however, that this is a big day for ABC Sports. Right after the World Series game, we'll be taking you to NCAA college football. The Cornhuskers of Nebraska, rated number 1 in this country, going against the University of Missouri. But back to the game here in Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia. And a word about today's pitches. For the Birds, the youngest player in the American League, Storm Davis, and he's got a lot of pitching equipment to go into this fray with. But the opposition, John Denny, the winner of the first game of the series for the Phils and a Cy Young Award candidate, will probably win it. Right now, though, there was a very special story here yesterday in that tight game where Jim Palmer, a Cy Young Award winner 3 times, emerged as the winning pitcher in relief. So today, I spoke with Jim Palmer. I would think you're immensely gratified by winning a game in a relief role, Jim.
Well, I think it's just nice to win any game, Howard, whether you're in relief or you're as a starter. But it is my birthday today. It was kind of a present, even though it was yesterday. But I was very just pleased to pitch, first of all, and then when you don't go out on the mound for 14 days, I think the thing you try to do is throw strikes, and I was able to do that with the exception of pitching around Ivan De Jesus with really another go-ahead run, I guess, for them on second base. But other than that, I was very pleased with my outcome.
I saw you taking to that mound, and this is subject not often discussed. Why do you like the mound here so much?
Well, it's illegal. It's much higher than the mounds are supposed to be. I think the maximum height of a mound is supposed to be 12 inches. I think if you go to some of the teams that have better pitching, their mound is probably a little bit higher. I think the umpire supervisor is supposed to go around and measure the mound. If this mound is 12 inches, I'm 7 feet tall because it's an extremely high mound. It has great slope, which gives you good velocity. And I think if you have good rhythm and you have good extension and you have been out there a while, it would be a great mound to pitch off of. I look for a guy like Storm Davis today to pitch extremely well off that mound because he's an overhand pitcher. It's just a mound that's conducive to throwing well if you have good velocity, and Storm's that type of pitcher.
A little more about Storm, if you will, because earlier you said to me that long-term he's got the best talent on the staff.
Well, he certainly does, Howard. Storm has, he's 21 years of age. He won 8 games for us last year. He won 13 this year. He has an outstanding fastball, and I think what makes it even more outstanding is the fact that he has excellent control of it. He has an excellent curveball. He has a changeup he's been working on. He's working on a forkball. Here's a 21-year-old guy that's got tremendous poise. He went into the 9th inning with a no-hitter this year. He's probably the most talented, as I said, starter that we have. I think the only thing that would keep him from pitching a good game today is the injury he had on the left side of his shoulder. It seems like it's kind of an insignificant thing if the left part of your upper back hurts, but that's the important part of the windup. It's the shoulder that gets you through into the strike zone. And for Storm to be effective today, he's going to have to throw low strikes.
Storm, you're young, you're human. Any butterflies?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely some butterflies today, but I think last night with us winning the game, there's a little bit of pressure that's been taken off me. You know, I'm just going to have to go out and throw to my top of game, and hopefully I can keep our team in the game and we'll come out a winner.
Jim Palmer says that long term you've got more talent than any pitcher on your staff. That includes young Mike Boddicker. How does that grab you?
Well, Jim's been known to lie before. No, I don't know. You know, that's quite a compliment from probably one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And I hope I can just live up to some of that, what he said, and Lord willing, we will.
21-year-old Storm Davis, and I'll be back to talk more about the opposition pitchers with Reggie Jackson in just a moment.
This ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by ColecoVision, the most advanced video game system you can buy.
While Atari keeps trying to sell you new systems like the 5200, with ColecoVision you only need one system, because ColecoVision expands to give you a Super Action controller set with Super Action Baseball, a driving module with turbo, and only ColecoVision expands to become Atom, the complete family computer system. Plus, you get $150 in vacation savings certificates. $150 good for any 7-day vacation package, if you buy ColecoVision now. Sorry, Atari.
Now playing on ColecoVision. Subrock, the ultimate sea and air battle comes home on ColecoVision. Looping, experience the dizzying, dazzling daring of Super Ace Aviation on ColecoVision. Omega Race pits you against a galaxy of alien antagonists on ColecoVision. Pepper 2, the eerie arcade adventure filled with frightening surprises. 4 great new arcade hits are now playing on ColecoVision. The best game in town keeps getting better.
Well, he's back with us again, Mr. October. Reggie, first, your view of Storm Davis as an opposition batter.
Howard, when you look at a pitcher from the opposition, you're going to hit off on that particular day, especially someone that you have not seen that much, as is the case with Storm Davis. You try to compare him to someone that you've seen before. That for Storm Davis is like hitting off, or the similarity is Jim Palmer. They even look alike a little bit as people. He's a fastball pitcher. He's got 4 pitches, throws a curveball, throws a slider, and does throw the changeup. But his main pitch, his #1 pitch, is a fastball. He'll try to keep the fastball away from the power hitters today, and his tendency really is to keep the ball away. He'll go to the fastball when he wants to get you out. I think the Storm has an advantage because he knows he only has to go 6 or 7 innings, because Joe Altobelli is a guy that has told him that he just wants to go to his bullpen as soon as he can. Give me all you got. I'm going to come in with some relief when I can.
How did you do personally against Storm?
I didn't face Storm that much, Howard. I was like 0 for 3 off him, or 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a ground out, and a base on ball, something like that.
But you did face Mr. Denny during his American League tenure. How did you do against him?
I had pretty good success against John Denny, got my base hits, hit a couple of home runs off him, but I think in 1981, 1982, hitting against John Denny is not like facing him in 1983. John Denny now is an accomplished pitcher. He's a fellow that is off a tremendous season, 19-6, and he's been very consistent, or I should say outstanding his last 4 or 5 starts. He's been especially super here and especially tough here at the vet. 3 days rest for him, really, I don't think is going to be that difficult. I think as a hitter, what I would think about going into this ball game today is to realize that he's on a roll. He's pitching well. He pitches well against the Baltimore Orioles. He's got a 1.39 earned run average. And me as a hitter, I have to be aware when he's in trouble, I've got to take advantage of it at that particular time.
Thank you very much, Reggie.
Thank you, Howard.
Earlier, I spoke to Philly manager Paul Owens on John Denny. Denny goes with a short 3 days of rest, a short 3 days. Will this hurt him?
I don't think so. He threw about 108 pitches, which he can handle, and if he can give me 5, 6 good innings, I can go to my bullpen. It's rested, and I have a lot of faith in him, so I'm not overly concerned with that.
Well, Denny is 5-0 out of 9 starts with 3 days rest, so you're on solid ground on the record.
Well, he's done this quite often. We haven't overdone it during the year, but there's been times with the one double headers we built up in the spring, Howard, that we had to use him that way. But he's always been receptive, and if we can get into the 6th, 7th inning with him, that's enough for my bullpen.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment with Al Michaels and Earl Weaver taking over as the pregame activity concludes.
Let's spend a moment talking about Baltimore manager Joe Altobelli, because if you believe in the work ethic, you have to be very happy for this man. Altobelli is 51 years old, and he would not even be the answer to a trivia question. He had an undistinguished major league career, a brief one. Played briefly with Cleveland and with Minnesota, but basically he has spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. In fact, 25 seasons riding buses and eating meals in donut shops in places like Bluefield, West Virginia, Stockton, California, and at Rochester, where he was a great minor league manager. But he was always under Earl Weaver, who was at Baltimore. So finally he gets his break. He leaves the Oriole organization, goes to San Francisco, wins manager of the year in 1978, gets fired in 79, goes back to the minors. But he did get a second chance, and here he is, Joe Altobelli, in his 33rd year in professional baseball, 2 games away from putting a championship ring on his finger. The man, of course, who was in Baltimore through all of those years, Earl Weaver, the man Altobelli succeeded. And let's talk about Joe's strategy and the move he made last night, a rather uncommon one. 9th inning, he has Sammy Stewart out there warming up. LeFay is announced as the pinch hitter, and then he makes the move for the bullpen.
It was an outstanding move. It was a rare move, but it's a move that was set up as far back as the 7th inning when the Orioles went ahead. At that time, he chose to bring in right-handed reliever Sammy Stewart to pitch to a right-handed hitting Philly ball club. This gave Joe the option of bringing left-handed reliever Tippy Martinez in the first time a left-handed hitter walked to the plate. Paul Owens knew this. He knew that Tippy Martinez was coming into the game, and as a result, he didn't pinch hit in the bottom of the 7th inning. He didn't pinch hit in the bottom of the 8th inning. In the top of the 9th, he sent Joe LeFay, a left-handed pinch hitter, to the plate. In came Tippy Martinez. 1, 2, 3, the ball game was over. An outstanding move.
So he won the chess game last night.
Yes, he did.
And the Orioles lead it 2-1. It's a beautiful day in Philadelphia as John Denny begins to loosen up for Game 4 of the 1983 World Series. We'll be right back. So we're almost ready to get it underway. Game number 4 coming right up from Philly after this message and a word from your local stations.
The 1983 World Series is brought to you by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. And by Chevrolet, official U.S. cars and trucks of the 14th Olympic Winter Games. Chevrolet and you taking charge. And by Gillette, makers of the Good News disposable razor with 2 blades. And by Mr. Goodwrench and General Motors Parts.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to meet the participants in the 1983 World Series. First, the American League champion Baltimore Orioles. Here is the manager of the Orioles, Joe Altobelli. Now the starting lineup. Leading off, the center fielder, number 1, Al Bumbry. Batting second, the right fielder, number 28, Jim Dwyer. Hitting third, the shortstop, number 8, Cal Ripken Jr. Batting fourth, the first baseman, number 33, Eddie Murray. Hitting fifth, the left fielder, number 38, John Lowenstein. Batting sixth, the second baseman, number 25, Rich Dower. Hitting seventh, the third baseman, number 10, Todd Cruz. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 24, Rick Dempsey. In the ninth position, now in the bullpen warming up, the pitcher, number 34, Storm Davis. And here are the rest of the 1983 American League champion Baltimore Orioles. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the National League champion Philadelphia Phillies. Here is the manager of the Phillies, Paul Owens. Now the Phillies starting lineup. Leading off, the second baseman, number 8, Joe Morgan. Batting second, the first baseman, number 14, Pete Rose. Hitting third, the third baseman, number 20, Mike Schmidt. Batting fourth, the right fielder, number 23, Joe LaFay. Hitting fifth, the left fielder, number 34, Gary Matthews. Batting sixth, the center fielder, number 21, Greg Gross. Hitting seventh, the catcher, number 6, Bo Diaz. Batting eighth, the shortstop, number 11, Ivan De Jesus. In the ninth position, warming up in front of the Phillies dugout, the pitcher, number 40, John Denny. And the rest of the 1983 National League champion Philadelphia Phillies.
Clear skies, temperature around 65. Beautiful day, and we're set for Game 4. It'll be underway when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the commissioner's box on the first base side of the Phillies dugout. In 1950, like 1983, the Phillies won the National League pennant. Our 1950 team was known as the Whiz Kids. Today, we remember the Whiz Kids by having their center fielder, who went on to become a two-time National League batting champion, now a Phillies broadcaster, throw out today's ceremonial first pitch. The first ball, please, Richie Ashburn.
Richie Ashburn, now a broadcaster with the Philadelphia Phillies and a very popular man. In fact, every time the Phillies think about changing managers and they run one of those polls in the newspapers, Richie's at or near the top, along with Commissioner Kuhn and his wife Louisa, as the Phillies take the field. Defensively for the Phillies, Pete Rose Back in the lineup at first base. No need to tell you what they've been writing about in Philadelphia this morning. Rose's absence yesterday. Morgan at second base. Joe has hit 2 home runs in the series. And then Ivan De Jesus, who was involved in the key play as it turned out last night. He was charged with an error on the ground ball that scored what turned out to be the winning run. And Mike Schmidt still hitless is at third. In the outfield for Philadelphia, it's Gary Matthews in left field. And then in the platoon situation, they've got Greg Gross in center field in place of Maddox. And around and right is Joe LaFay, who played in game 2. Back of the plate is the everyday catcher, Bo Diaz. And the pitcher, John Denny, was actually acquired last year, and they thought he was damaged goods. He was expendable. Cleveland sent him over here. The Phillies picked him up for the stretch run in 1982, and then all of a sudden, he turns around in 83 and is the probable Cy Young winner. Home plate umpire, a National League umpire today, Frank Pulley. Steve Palermo at first and Dutch Rennert at second. It's Marty Springstead at third. Ed Vargo down the line and left, and Al Clark, who was back of the plate last night, can get a suntan today down the right field line. As you look around Veterans Stadium, 330 down the lines here, 371 to the power alleys, 408 to straightaway center. AstroTurf playing surface. Ballpark opened in 1971, located in South Philadelphia. And as we've stressed every time we've been in here through the years, and you've heard many times, a great hitter's park. The ball carries very well. So John Denny will begin things by facing Al Bumbry, Jim Dwyer, and Cal Ripken in the first inning. Bumbry has spent his entire career in the Baltimore organization. He was a 1968 draft choice. His rookie year with the big club was 73, so he's been there all the way.
Well, in looking at Denny for the second time in this series, the talk among the Oriole players in batting practice was they're going to look for a few more breaking balls than they did in the first game.
And he starts him 1-1 for a strike.
And it didn't look like Al was looking for it.
Denny, the winningest pitcher in the league this year, 19-6, with a 2.37 earned run average. Denny, 30 years old, throws another curve, and Rose backhands at first base, and Denny gets there in time for the out.
That was another breaking ball, was out in front of it just the least bit. We get to see it. Hit to Rose's right. Got it before it took the short hop. You see how Pete takes his time and gives John a perfect throw as he runs over to cover first base.
1 out, and Jim Dwyer is the batter. Dwyer, much traveled among his stops, St. Louis, where he was a teammate of John Denny in the mid-70s. Hit a home run the other night and looks at a strike, 0-1. Paul Owens, the 59-year-old Philly manager and also general manager. One and one. That's a strike on the inside corner. 1-2.
That's the mound that Jim Palmer was talking about. He says it's illegal, it's too high, and that's why he loved it. He said if that's 12 inches, he's 7 feet tall.
Well, it's supposed to be a hitter's park, and if there's one way you can equalize that, it's build that mound up just a little bit. One of the reasons that helps is the pitcher's coming down with more momentum, and he can get a little bit more on his fastball that way.
Chopper to the right side, and Joe Morgan waits for it, throws out Dwyer, and quickly 2 down here in the first inning. Cal Ripken will come up. And it's well documented now, the middle of the Oriole order, the heart of it, really struggling. Ripken 2 for 10. And of course Murray to follow 1 for 12. So who would have believed if somebody would have said Ripken and Murray would be 3 for 22 on Saturday, that Baltimore would be leading in the World Series 2-1.
One thing today, Cal Ripken Sr., talking to me privately, told me that Cal Ripken Jr. was going to get one of those breaking balls and hit it out of the park, but I think he's a little bit prejudiced.
There he is, the third base coach. 1-0 on Junior, who looks at a fastball for a strike, and the count is 1-1. Well, Denny takes care of that in a hurry.
You mean bursting the Orioles balloon?
Well, perhaps it will forebode.
We're going to get a look at where Ripken is standing in the box. So far back, he's almost out of it. And through the series, he's been reaching for outside pitches. The Philadelphia staff has stayed right on that outside corner, and he's a long way away from where they're throwing him.
2 balls and 1 strike the count. And that's hit high in the air to deep left field. Was Dad right? Well, almost. It stays in as Matthews makes the catch in front of the wall. So the Orioles are out in order. And after a half, it's Baltimore nothing and Philadelphia coming up. The Orioles defensively, Eddie Murray is at first base. And the second baseman is Rich Dower. Their infield has been the same for the entire series. Cal Ripken gets the start at shortstop. And over third is Todd Cruz with a tremendous arm. In the outfield, platoon situation in left, and it's John Lowenstein with 3 hits in game 2. Out there today in center field, man they call the Bumblebee in Baltimore, Al Bunbury. And in right, Jim Dwyer. Back of the plate is Rick Dempsey, one of the heroes last night with a couple of doubles. And on the mound is Storm Davis, whom Mike Flanagan refers to as Cyclone. They call Palmer Cy. And of course, so much has been made of the physical similarities between Palmer and Storm Davis. And that's the nickname Flanagan gave him. As Joe Morgan stands in, he's had 2 home runs in the series. 1 in game 1 and 1 last night. And the count is 1-0. One and 1 the count.
2 good hard fastballs. Reggie said in the pregame show that Davis will stay primarily with that fastball. When he's ahead, he'll throw some sliders and some change-ups. But there's his bread and butter pitch. Went right by Joe Morgan.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Morgan to be followed by Rose and Schmidt. Bottom of the first inning. No score. Two and 2 now.
You might think a 21-year-old would be nervous, and he certainly has to have a few butterflies in his stomach. But this is a cool customer out there.
Full count 3 and 2 on Morgan. Joe, 4 for 11 in the series.
If the bullpen he warmed up on was not as high as this one, it's going to take him a hitter or 2 to adjust to it.
And down he goes. He kept it in on him, and Morgan strikes out, and you can see him turn and ask Frank Pulley if that was a strike had he not swung.
We'll see it again. Pitch sailed to the inside half of the plate. And it's funny how all hitters will ask the umpire after they've swung if it's a strike. But if it's a called third strike, they'll always disagree with it.
You rarely see the umpire say no. Rose takes up high, 1-0 the count. So Pete back in the lineup, and of course there is Tony Perez, who started at first base last night. Fouled back, and the count is 1-1.
Pete Rose has always been a real good high fastball hitter, and that's where Storm Davis will be pitching him. Not on design, but he's got the high hard one like they talked about in the real old days. We'll get an indication of how good Storm Davis's fastball is going to be if he keeps it above the belt to Pete Rose.
1-2.
Oh, a nice curve there, Earl.
Very good curveball. He's got a real good overhand curveball that drops straight down. He's also got a good, hard, tight slider. And he uses those pitches when he's ahead of the hitter. If he falls behind, goes with his strength.
And Rose getting fooled and strikes out. So Morgan and Rose strike out. Interestingly, that's the way Boddicker began game 2 the other night in Baltimore, striking out Morgan and Rose.
That pitch was 95 miles per hour on a jugs.
And that's the fastest that we've had in the series so far.
Mike Schmidt, who told Howard before game 3 that he was swinging the bat well, but he was 0 for 8 going into game 3 and was 0 for 4 last night. 1-0 the count.
I don't think he was happy with the way he was swinging last night. I think he must have changed his thinking because he began chasing that high, fast pitch.
He has to lay off of that, but that's anxiety. When you don't have a hit, you want to take your cuts.
Fastball, threw it right by him, and the count is 1-1.
94 on that one, on the jugs gun. Isn't that a beautiful shot from the Goodyear blimp? The Spectrum behind Veterans Stadium and then John F. Kennedy Stadium, where they used to play every Army-Navy game.
One ball and 1 strike the count on Schmidt, the 2 out. And it's 2-1. The Phillies looking for a rally. They have 5 runs in the 3 games. 4 on bases empty homers, and the other an unearned run. And Schmidt pops it up in foul ground and back out of play. 2-2 the count.
Mike Schmidt's also a good fastball hitter. Of course, when you hit 40 home runs, you're a good breaking ball hitter too. He had trouble with the first pitch. He speeded it up a little bit on that and wasn't far away from getting that solidly on the bat.
Dempsey now goes out to have a word with Cruz. That's something you don't see very often. Catcher calls time and has a word with his third baseman, as Dempsey just did. Cruz going back to his position at there. What might he be saying, Earl?
Well, one thing a third baseman would want to know with a fellow that throws as hard as Davis, he wants to know when the changeup is called.
Not there. Strike 3, and Davis starts the first inning by striking out the side. So this one begins like the other 3. Another look at a just about perfect pitch. And at the end of 1 complete inning in game 4, it's Baltimore nothing and Philadelphia nothing. All right, we go to the top of the 2nd inning. No score. Both clubs going out 1, 2, 3 in the first, and it'll be Eddie Murray, John Lowenstein, and Rich Dower in the 2nd inning. So Eddie Murray, who had a terrible series in '79. A bad playoff outside of 1 monstrous home run against the White Sox at Comiskey last Friday, and 1 for 12 in the World Series. 1-0, and that 1 hit in his first at-bat, he went the other way, a left field single.
Yes, he did. Now again, he's going to try to hit the ball as far as he possibly can, not just over the fence, but wants to reach the 3rd deck, and that's not helping him.
2-0 the count.
One thing I know he's heard a million times is be patient. Try to get a good pitch to hit, and he doesn't want to hear that anymore from anybody.
2-1. He's trying to remain calm, but if you saw last night's game and the close-ups of Murray, the frustration was just etched all over his face.
Very evident.
There's no frustration in John Denny. There is only poise and confidence. Made a reservation for 15 people at 5 o'clock tonight at the original bookbinders. He obviously expects a quick victory.
He works in a hurry. The 3 games thus far have been relatively rapidly played. And this one off to the same type of start as Murray hits it high in the air to right field. And moving over is LaFay, who makes the catch. So 1 away, and again Eddie Murray now 1 for 13, and watch his reaction.
Here he's going to show his frustration. Takes the bat, tosses it right up in the air. He knew he had a pitch right there that he should have hit.
1 down, and Lowenstein, the batter, single double home run in game 2. And In game one, of course, he made this play to rob Bo Diaz. That sensational catch to take a home run away from the Philly catcher. In the air to center field. Good wood, but right at somebody as Gross falls it in. And Denny has set down the first 5. So 2 away here in the second inning. And Rich Dower is the batter.
Looks like we're falling right into the pattern of the first 3 ball games with very good pitching.
The Phillies coming in to game 4 hitting 172 in the series. The Orioles 206. Ground ball back to Denny. And so the first 9 men up in this game have gone down in order. And at the end of an inning and a half in Philly, Orioles nothing, Phillies nothing. Commissioner's box here in Philadelphia. Bowie and Luis Acune, and man of the blue hat, of course, Happy Chandler, former commissioner.
And in the middle of that picture in the second row was Cune's trusted assistant, Sandy Haddon. Bevy of other folks there whom we may have the opportunity to identify later.
Want to know the count? George Foster looking on. Now the Mets left fielder, of course, and looking at some of his teammates, in fact. His ex-teammates from the Big Red Machine days as LaFay fouls it back. And the count 2-1.
Again, there's no mystery when Storm Davis falls behind in the count. The count was 2-0, and there was that good hard fastball.
Davis is throwing at Gossage and Nolan Ryan speed. And Reggie Jackson made the point in the pregame show that he would be doing this because Altobelli told him he only had to go 6 or 7 innings.
It could be stretched out by Davis himself. If he feels good in the 6th or 7th, they might, and he's got a little bit of a lead, they might try to leave him in just a little bit longer.
However, it remains to be seen if the Phils adjust.
LaFay popping a foul and drifting back out of play, so the count stays 3-2.
The Oriole coaches and Joe Altobelli himself will be watching the speed gun along with us to see if he drops anything as the innings go on.
That was 94, and it may be that he'll reach his peak speed around the 4th inning.
In the air to center field, and an easy play for Al Bumbry. 1 gone as Davis starts by retiring the first 4. There's Joe Altobelli in his rookie season as the manager of the Orioles. Spent the last 2 years as the Yankees' third base coach. Before that, 1 season at Columbus in the Yankee system after getting fired by the Giants in '79. Gary Matthews. Matthews hit 10 home runs during the regular season, and he's hit 4 in postseason. 3 in the playoffs. 1 last night. Looks at a strike. 0-1.
A good curveball.
That was beautifully, and that ball went right down, as you suggested earlier.
Well, they've got to go up to the plate looking fastball when a man's throwing 94 miles an hour. So if he gets that over, it's really going to be tough.
Grounded to third. Cruz throws him out. So 2 away here in the second inning. Hey, one thing we're getting a look at in the World Series and postseason play, a fellow like Todd Cruz, who's been around and spent a lot of time, of course, at Seattle recently, so doesn't get a lot of exposure, but everybody getting to see what sort of an arm he has.
And he certainly has a good one, an outstanding arm.
2 down in the second inning, and you can see why a fellow like Cruz is in the lineup despite hitting 199 this year. Gross is the batter. A strike and the count 0-1.
Orioles have playing Gross to left field. This is the most exaggerated opposite field defense that we've seen so far this year.
And remember the other night we remarked when Gross came up, as you look at the defense, that they had been playing Gross straight away the other evening with Boddicker pitching, but they adjust today. And he comes right back through the middle, but on a 1-hopper it's speared by Davis. And so both pitchers begin by retiring the first 6. So here we go again. Same pattern. After 2, no score in Philly.
Al Pacino is Scarface. Scarface. For one brief moment, the world was his. Scarface. He loved the American dream with a vengeance. Mature audiences suggested, coming December to a theater near you.
We go to the 3rd inning. In Game 4, Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Earl Weaver in Philadelphia. Baltimore leading 2-1. Of course, tomorrow we're right back here at 4:30 Eastern Time. Todd Cruz looks at a strike. Cruz, Dempsey, and Davis in the 3rd inning. 1-1. Check swing foul, and the count 1-2.
We're in the bottom 3rd of the Baltimore order, and they weren't supposed to do much during the course of this season. But in the 2 victories, they've come through pretty good for the Baltimore Baseball Club.
Absolutely. Chopper by the mound, and De Jesus near the bag has trouble, and that costs him. Otherwise, if he fields it cleanly and makes the transfer, he probably gets him.
Couldn't get the ball out of his glove, or so it appeared.
Could not get the ball out of his glove. It's one of those AstroTurf base hits. That ball on grass would be right back to the pitcher. You see Denny shrink his shoulders there, but there's the important part of that play. He got it caught in his glove. We had a good picture of it, and Cruz beat the ball out. One more shot, had a double hitch, and took just a little too much time.
So Cruz is at first, and Dempsey, who had 2 doubles last night, looks at a strike, and the count is 0-1.
That was a curveball, and ordinarily Rick Dempsey has some problems with curveballs, but we're in the World Series now, and he seems to be able to rise to the occasion.
Cruz at first. It's been scored an infield hit, and there's Denny's good move to first base, and it almost caught Todd.
Denny's known to have a real good move to first base.
Rose holding Cruz on. And it's inside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Dempsey.
The Orioles are not known as a running club, but the way this series is going, maybe Joe Altobelli will think about stealing more bases than he would ordinarily during the season.
Fly ball to center field and shallow for Gross. 1 out. And Storm Davis coming up. Howard talked to Rick Dempsey, who should know, and here's what Dempsey had to say about Storm Davis.
Storm Davis is more of a power pitching type. He throws a hard fastball, hard slider, and a good hard curveball. Once in a while, he'll take a little off his curveball and make it a bigger breaking curveball, and it's real effective when he's throwing the ball over the plate. He's had a little trouble with his neck the second half of this season, but in that game the other day against the White Sox, he was just as sharp as I've ever seen him. For 6 innings, he just kind of mowed him down.
For 6 innings, you notice?
Yes, he did. That's exactly what he said. We have a sacrifice situation here. Storm Davis hasn't gone to the plate at all during the course of the regular season. In spring training, they take a little bunting practice, but really in the American League, you work more on fundamentals and sacrifices.
He misses the bunt attempt there, and so quickly it's no balls and 2 strikes.
At least you worked more on fundamentals than sacrifice.
It took you 4 games to get to that.
Wait till they ask you why Lowenstein didn't bunt in Game 2 in '79.
I still don't have an answer.
He's around to bunt again and misses for strike 3. So Davis can't lay one down, can't even make contact. That's the first strikeout for John Denny.
And that's understandable. Last night, Sixto Lescano was in a sacrifice situation and failed to get it down.
So the top of the order now in Bunbury.
Game like this, 2 pitchers going like these 2 have been going thus far. This game might well turn on who hits first among the big hitters. Whether it be Murray or Schmidt.
As I said, the Orioles are not a running ball club, but with 2 outs and a singles hitter at home plate, you might look for something here.
0-1 the count.
Might look for a pickoff with Denny's move.
He's got a good one.
Denny thinking the same thing that you are and goes over there.
He's got 2 moves like most pitchers have. He'll wait for Cruz to get an extra step before he gives him the real good one. And that was the real good one. He's quick. Along with that, he's got a quick release to home plate.
Did you see Rose question that? First base umpire?
Telling Palermo to bear down, I guess. First base umpire from the American League. And Bunbury drills it to left center field, but Matthews is there and stays with it to make the catch. Bunbury hit it right on the button. No runs, 1 hit. Leave Cruz following after 2.5, no score. And after this morning's matches in Ryder Cup play, the United States and Great Britain tied 6-6 with play to resume this afternoon.
Look at that graphic. Sandy did that. The opening game of the '63 World Series against the Yankees. Today, Storm Davis did it.
Only 21 years old.
I'll tell you this. The Dodgers really stormed the Yankees that year. Beat them in 4 straight. Drysdale pitched as great a game as I have ever seen pitched in that series.
Bo Diaz leading off. De Jesus following. It's hit in the air to shallow right center field. Dowers going out and calling for it and makes the catch. So 1 away, and Storm Davis has started by retiring the first 7 men he's faced. Up comes Ivan De Jesus, a Goodyear blip high above Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. And a shot on just a gorgeous Chamber of Commerce afternoon.
It certainly is that. Couldn't be a better day for baseball.
Had some rain for game 1, but no stoppages. Little fog for game 2. And then they picked the right day for the off day because it's poured here on Thursday. That's a strike to De Jesus, and the count is 0-1. Ivan 2 for 9 in the series. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
17 hitters have gone to the plate, and we've only had 1 ball hit hard. That line drive that Bunbury hit to him in the last half inning.
2-1 now.
And that's no reflection on the hitters in this series. It's just been outstanding pitching.
How do you know?
To right center field, hit relatively hard, but here comes Bunbury to make the catch. Rizal got a good jump on it, and there are 2 down.
That ball was decently struck.
Bunbury came a long way for this ball. I think the ball was hit a little bit on the trademark. Hung up there just long enough for Al to get there. He's got good speed, too.
John Denny, 170 career average. Fouls it into the upper deck, and the count is 0-1.
He had just as good a cut as some of the hitters have had up to this point.
That's line to left field, right on the button, but going back to make the catch is Lowenstein. So the hitter's starting to make contact, but to no avail.
That was the best hit ball in the game so far.
And the Phillies are gone.
By the Phils.
That's 9 straight set down by Storm Davis. We'll go to the 4th. No score. Well, those 2 men have won a few games in their careers. Jim Palmer, foreground. Dennis Martinez, but right now both relegated to the bullpen.
At one time in the clubhouse, Palmer was known as Cy Old, and Dennis Martinez was known as Cy Future. All those names came from Mike Flanagan.
And he calls Davis Cyclone. I had a laugh about Davis as Dwyer leads off here in the 4th. They talk about him being a Palmer clone.
Even to the extent that he had, what, neck problems this year as well?
The last month of the season.
You've heard Jim complain about that from time to time, haven't you?
I have.
I've heard Jim complain about many things from time to time. He can stir anything up.
He invented the ulnar nerve.
Happy birthday, Jim Palmer.
38 today. Dwyer drills it to right field. LeFay comes on and has to play it on the kangaroo hop. Thought for a moment he'd come in and make the play, and then he thought better of it.
So Dwyer continues to show his ability to cope with John Denny.
Just seems to know every pitch that Denny's throwing.
So 2 hits in the game, both for the Orioles. And at least we've seen some well-hit balls. Bunbury lining to Matthews in the 3rd, and to Jesus and Denny hitting it on the money in the bottom of the inning, and a solid single by Dwyer here with Ripken at the plate.
And they're staying on the outside half of the plate with him, and that's exactly why Ripken hasn't been able to do much. You might be right, Howard. He might have to step up in the box just a little bit.
Hit sharply and through in the hole for a base hit to left field. So Dwyer is at second base, and the Orioles have runners at first and second. And up comes Eddie Murray with men on base again.
It's almost a replay of the championship series. It was in the 3rd game in the championship series that Eddie came up in the 1st inning and broke the game wide open with a 3-run homer.
Well, one of these big guys got to break out sooner or later, be it Murray or Schmidt. And as I suggested earlier, whichever one breaks out first, that could turn the game.
1-0, boxed by Diaz, but no advance.
That was a fastball, and Eddie never moved a muscle on that pitch. It seems to me like he's standing up there waiting for the first good breaking ball to hit.
That was an 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
Eddie Murray hit in the clutch during the regular season. Runners in scoring position. His average was .341. Lines it to right field, and he gets a base hit. LeFay plays it on a hop, and they will stop Dwyer at 3rd, so they're loaded up on 3 solid singles here in the 4th inning.
He hit a curveball. There were indications on the first pitch when he didn't even offer it that fastball that he was looking for it.
And the Philadelphia bullpen will get busy.
And LeFay has one of the greatest arms in baseball. First, the runner had to wait to make sure the ball couldn't be caught, and then second, you don't run on this kid. He has some arm.
That's exactly right. The ball was hit hard, Howard. He was cold turkey if he tried to go home.
So Lowenstein comes up. Philly infield looking for the double play. They'll concede a run on a grounder, and it's a strike. 0-1. The way they are aligned right there, De Jesus and Morgan will turn a pair to try to stay away from the big inning and concede a run on a ground ball to them. Hit foul outside first, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. That's become a familiar sight here in Philadelphia. The folks along the lines bringing the nets.
Bases filled, nobody out. In this situation yesterday, Carlton got out of it. Same kind of jam, and one would have thought at that point the Birds would fold, but they didn't.
1-2. That's Marty Bystrom, and interestingly, originally he would have been the starting pitcher today. Paul Owens was going to go with 4, but instead he opts for Denny, and Bystrom's the long man. And Lowenstein strikes out as Denny took just enough off of it, so he gets a very big out.
That is an important strikeout, and we'll see right now if the bottom of the Oriole lineup can come through again. It was a tremendous change of pace, and John was just fooled from the time it left the pitcher's hand. Get to see it again here. You'll see as he releases the ball, Lowenstein lunges. The bat is way ahead of the bat is all the way around by the time the ball gets to the catcher.
This will give you a better shot. That's it. That's Denny's father. We told you that warm and touching story of how they were reunited after so many years.
Dower takes up high. John flying him in from Australia.
Exactly.
Home.
Here's the 1-0 pitch now to Dower. A looper to right field that will fall in for a base hit. Dwyer will score. Ripken is being waved in. LeFay's throw comes through, not in time. Murray goes to third, and Baltimore leads it 2-0. And again, the bottom of the order comes through for Baltimore.
Well, here we go with those functional players. Earl has described why he likes Dower so much for you in earlier telecasts, and somehow this team, as you look at it again, this kind of player comes through. Note he went to the opposite field, Earl, where he's so adept.
Yes, he did. The ball wasn't hit really good, but you could tell he was going with the pitch.
Mm-hmm. 4 singles in the inning. Another look now.
Almost like he tried to put it right where it landed.
So Dwyer scored easily, and with Ripken being waved in, Rose lets it go through, but too late. And after Osteen visits the mound, Denny will go to work on Todd Cruz with 1 out in the 4th inning.
On that play, we got to see Joe LeFay's arm again. It was a perfect throw that could have been handled by the cutoff and held Richie Dower at first base. If LeFay throws that ball over the cutoff man's head, it allows Dower to keep traveling right on down to second base.
So Murray is at third. Dower at first, held by Rose. Cruz, who hit only 199 this season, at least came through in the clutch. He hit 293 with men in scoring position. Chases a breaking pitch, 0-1.
The day he joined the Orioles, he had 6 RBIs.
That looked like the deal of all time when they picked him up that night. 1-1.
They weren't going real good at that time. He certainly gave him a shot in the arm when they needed it.
He started the season at Seattle, as did his namesake, no relation, Julio Cruz, who wound up as the second baseman in Chicago. Grounded foul.
That's the young man who made Chicago's season. That was the unheralded trade of the year.
Tony
Bernazard was playing second self-protectively after the injury, couldn't execute the double play. They got Julio Cruz, and there's no better fielding second base.
That's exactly right. Great range and an added speed to that ball club.
One and 2 the count on Cruz. Philly infield double play depth. And it's fouled straight back.
Why did you duck?
Well, it looked like it was coming into the area here. I can't count on Weaver, and I know I can't count on you.
No, I couldn't count on you. I learned that the hard way.
Still 1 ball 2 strikes on Cruz.
To me, with the real good breaking ball that John Denny's got, the last 2 pitches were fastballs, and they were up. He's throwing his fastball at 87 miles an hour.
Good breaking pitch, struck him out.
What a beauty.
Strikeout number 3 for John Denny.
A big out if they can strand this runner at third.
We see a very good curveball here. You can really see it break in this good picture. And if you throw Todd Cruz that pitch, he's not going to get the bat on it a lot. That's why I was surprised when Denny threw in the 2 pitches, 2 fastballs previously.
Now here's an interesting situation.
Certainly
Even though
is.
it's not first base open, a base is open, and thus they will walk Dempsey with runners at first and third, and take their chances with Storm Davis, who could not make contact as he attempted to bunt in the 3rd inning.
Paul Owens was talking with me today on how impressed he is with Rick Dempsey.
You watch him in the series, you certainly have to be. Dempsey's done everything that had to be done so far, including help out offensively.
Earl, tell me about your feelings in regard to that strategy right there, first and third, and the intentional walk.
I think it's a very good move. It puts a little pressure on Denny, the pitcher. He has to throw strikes. If not, he's going to walk in a run. But when you got a pitcher that won 19 games during the course of the ball game, you have to trust him. If you can't trust this fella that's out there now, you can't trust anybody.
Starts Davis with a strike, and so the bases are loaded. 2 down, 4th inning. Baltimore leading 2-0. Did he check in time? He did not.
Well, there's one thing we know. They can't have a scouting report on Storm Davis at home plate because he only went to bat once. And he might not have even went to bat once.
Then he's not fooling around with him either. Coming right at him. And the 0-2 pitch, and that's that in a hurry. So Denny strikes out the side, but in between. 2 runs, 4 hits, and after 3 1/2, 2-0, Orioles. What a shot that is on a beautiful day in Philly. That's Independence Hall.
That's Philadelphia, historic city.
Joe Morgan to lead off, bottom of the 4th. By the way, halftime of the football game this afternoon featuring Nebraska and Missouri, a live interview with Marcus Dupree. With Morgan leading off in the bottom of the 4th inning, hitting it to center field, and Bumbry is there to make the catch. Marcus Dupree, of course, missing earlier this week, and now apparently has left the University of Oklahoma. The running back, the star running back. And an interesting story. Something that's, well, it's been basically buried this week because of the World Series. Otherwise, it would be on top of most of the sports pages in the country.
Talking about southern Mississippi, aren't they?
That's what I saw this morning. Pete Rose, a strike, and the count 0-1.
Well, we should get the scoop at halftime.
Quickly 0-2 on Rose, who struck out his first trip. He is anybody could have lip read that.
Well, Pete's saying to himself, how are you going to hit that kind of pitch as hard as he's throwing?
He's not saying it to himself. Rose fouling it back. It remains no balls, 2 strikes.
I wonder what I'd got. 93 miles per hour on the fastball, so the speed is still up there. Yet they've been getting wood on him.
Backs him off.
Last 3 balls were hit hard, including the one by John Denny, the pitcher.
Rose lining it to center field and in for a base hit. So the Phillies have their first hit and their first base runner as Pete Rose on a 1-2 pitch after Davis had come inside. Lines it to center field.
Pete Rose's whole history as a ball player. It didn't matter who the pitcher was, how good a pitcher he was. Let him see them a time or 2, and he knows how to adjust and get to them.
Well, after he saw the one curveball, he said something to the umpire, but he might have said, throw me that curveball one more time and see what happens. And that's what the pitch was.
Now, Murray got a single. Turned out to be a very important blow. Schmidt still hitless in the series, hoping to explode.
Mike 0 for 13, fouling it away, and the count is 0-1. Schmidt, who had 255 during the regular season and had a good playoff series, shatters his bat and pops it in the air to shallow left center field. Could be trouble, and is. And Rose, in a brilliant piece of base running, winds up at third. Very few players would do what Rose did. That's a ball that lands between 3 fielders, and yet Pete, he's been around a long time, has the uncanny sense of knowing it's going to fall in.
Always was and always will be. When you have baseball instinct like that, you know exactly what to do. Something that happened on that ball is Mike Schmidt had a real healthy cut. It hit him close to the hand. Here comes Rose again now. The minute the ball was hit into left field, Pete made a decision. It's going to drop. Here I go to third base.
That showed it very well.
At any rate, both outfielders took a step back on that ball because they thought it was hit harder than it was.
How do you put something like that in a box score, the way Rose ran the bases in that instance? First and third. 1 out. Infield double play depth, and the batter is LaFay. 1-0 to count. So with Baltimore leading 2-0 and Joe Altobelli looking on, the Phillies, who were dormant through 3, 9 up and 9 down, trying to rally here in the 4th. And LaFay drills it toward the right field corner. Fair ball. Rose comes in to score. Schmidt is being held at third on a double by LaFay, and it's 2-1.
You could see they were beginning to get to Storm Davis. We had commented that 3 straight balls had been solidly hit.
Here we get the shot from high above. You'll be able to see Jim Dwyer go over and take the ball off of the wall. 1 short hop. We got it from another angle. He gave a perfect throw to the cutoff man, Richie Dower, and Rich Dower does have a very good arm. The fans booed a little bit because Schmidt was stopped at third base, but in my opinion, I thought he would have been thrown out at home plate.
I agree with you. I don't see any question about it.
Ray Miller going to the mound, the Oriole pitching coach. The crowd was booing, and Schmidt was held at third. Sammy Stewart gets up in the Baltimore bullpen. There he is.
That was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that Joe LaFay hit. He does have a quick bat.
Yes, he does, and he's dropped 3 miles off his fastball, but just as much as that, and them starting to catch up with Storm Davis. They've seen him the first time. They know they've got to get started quicker. And going into the second round, I might have to question the fact that Davis isn't throwing more breaking balls this time around the order.
So Miller trots back to the dugout.
It's getting to be a religion in this series. The team that scores first loses the game. That doesn't mean that Baltimore will in this case, but the Phils are striking back and quickly.
Here is Matthews, and the infield is back as Matthews takes outside. Cruz could come home, as you can see, but on a grounder to short and second, they'll concede the run.
They feel in this ball game like they're going to be able to score again.
Squibber foul, 1 ball and 1 strike to count. 1 out, bottom of the 4th inning. Baltimore leading at 2-1 with Mike Schmidt at third. Joe LaFay off to his lead at second. And Matthews, who has 4 postseason home runs at the plate, with Gross on deck. Good pitch.
With the base open, there'd be a chance that they might try to make real good pitches, pitch around Matthews, but that pitch was a fastball. Storm still feels like he's throwing it hard. It was right down the middle.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Full count. He took something off of it. That wasn't his fastball, so the crowd boos anyway.
That wasn't his fastball. He over-tried to throw his curveball.
Full count, 3-2 on Gary Matthews. Time called because something has come out of the stands, balloons again in left field. Some of the debris swirling.
Last 2 fastballs were 90 and 91 miles per hour, so he's still getting good velocity.
Anytime you're over 90 miles an hour, that's a tough fastball to hit.
3-2 the count. Tying on at third, go-ahead run at second. 1 out. It stays 3-2. First base open. Greg Gross to follow Matthews. And Gary's aboard, so they're loaded up. Bases loaded with 1 out in the 4th inning, and Greg Gross coming up.
He is not an easy batter to double up.
And he also makes contact. Infield will look for the double play. Gross, who started the season basically as a pinch hitter, winds it up as the platooning center fielder with Maddox. Foul to the plate, 0-1.
It's quite a descriptive graphic, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that's good, Howard.
Fouled away, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes. The league average, by the way, in that situation would be about 58%. No balls, 2 strikes. 1-2 now.
He hasn't lost a lot of his fastball, but it seems like he's trying to overthrow it this time, trying to keep it over 90 miles an hour.
Lifted in the air, curling foul. Not much room down there and back in the seats. So it stays 1-2 on Greg Gross. Bases are loaded. Mike Schmidt at third. Joe LaFay is at second. And Gary Matthews at first.
And we see by where that foul ball went why the Oriole outfield played Greg Gross to left field.
He goes back through the middle. It's a bouncer fielded by Dower, and he turns the double play. So they walked Matthews, even though it wasn't an intentional walk. They weren't going to give him anything good to hit, and it sets up a ground ball double play. And so Philadelphia settles for a run, and we'll go to the fifth. It's 2-1 Orioles.
That's the City Hall area of Philadelphia. We've talked extensively about the great urban renewal of this city, and as I've mentioned, you can feel the roots of the country here.
Al Bunbury hits a bouncer to Rose, who backs up, throws to Denny, covering, and in time for the out. So a nice play by Pete, who could not charge that one. Played it just right.
And again, it's an AstroTurf ground ball. Hits on the ground and takes that one big hop. Pete didn't want to come in and try to get it on the short hop. He went back, got it on a big hop, made it a little difficult to make a good throw, and Denny made a good play reaching behind him as they got the out.
Excellent play. And that's the double play on Gross. Was an artificial turf ground ball hit to the one spot. Dower perfectly placed where you could double him up.
Was at the right place at the right time. That's what we say in the dugout.
Jim Dwyer with the count 1 ball and no strikes has grounded out and singled. His base hit in the 4th inning started the Baltimore rally. One and one. Denny for the Cy Young. We mentioned earlier on in the series that the balloting is done before postseason play starts for the Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year awards. So the balloting's over. It has nothing to do with anything that happens in postseason play, and all they wait for now is to make the announcements.
And that's a good idea, because you'd hate to have a wonderful season wiped out by 4 or 5 bad ball games in a World Series.
Well, you know what's funny is Eddie Murray could wind up as the MVP this year in the American League. And then people will say, well, how can they vote him the MVP with this kind of World Series?
Well, you've explained
nothing to do with it. Exactly. Chopper to Rose, waits for it, and they've got that one down to a science. 2 down, and Cal Ripken will come up. And Monday night, Redskins will take on the Packers. Monday Night Football, as you look down upon the city of Philadelphia. Just a spectacular, cloudless, beautiful, gorgeous day. Redskins, Packers, Monday Night Football, 9 o'clock. That's an off night in the World Series. If we go on to a 6th game, we'll be in Baltimore on Tuesday.
Redskins are a terrific team. The Pack, almost defenseless, in and out, crushed by the Giants almost unbelievably, and by the Detroit Lions. Yet they have that great offense with the likes of Lofton and Jefferson and Lynn Dickey.
Outside to Cal Ripken, 1-0. 2 out, no one on. 5th inning, 2-1 Baltimore.
Ripken hit a curveball hard the first time up. He got a base hit on a fastball. The first 2 pitches to him this at bat were curveballs.
Two and one. Ripken has as good a chance as Murray to wind up winning the American League MVP this year. 2-2. Good breaking pitch.
Wasn't that beautiful?
And Cal Ripken was looking for it. He just got too far out in front of it.
He had him totally off stride on that. He was.
That's off his foot. That's a foul ball off his foot at the plate.
And it hurt.
When it rolls down that hard to third base, you know it hurts.
I had a ball player who's now a teammate of Reggie Jackson's, Bobby Gritch. Every time he hit one into the dirt, whether it hit his foot or not, he'd go down on the ground, and you'd be surprised how many times he got a foul ball called on him. We get to see it again. Pitch got in on Cal Ripken's hands, fouled straight down, and that hurts. Believe me, that hurts.
Come again. What were you saying? You're saying somebody was faking it, in other words?
Bob Gritch, every time he hit a ball like that, even if it went out to the shortstop, and he got a lot of foul balls called.
That's grounded foul. Does he still do it?
Yes, he does.
Ask Reggie. He knows.
We can open up Reggie's mic. All right, Reggie, fess up here.
I don't want to incriminate my teammate right there. He wears a pad on his leg right there.
Taking the Fifth Amendment, eh?
Oh, Bobby Gritch, a very honest man.
Popped up. Shallow right. Rose is going out, fighting the sun, and makes the catch. So in the inning for Pete, 2 assists and a putout. And at the end of 4.5, Baltimore 2, Philadelphia 1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Earl Weaver. As you look at Joe DiMaggio again last night, signing autograph after autograph all night long. Same thing today.
He thought he could hide away. He secreted away in the stands because the great man likes his privacy. A very private person.
Diaz looks at a strike. You can't hide from Chet 40, and you know it.
No. Interesting the way John Denny settled down.
That's ripped fair down the line into the corner, where it takes that strange bounce. It's still in play, and Diaz winds up at second with a double.
Clearly now they are really getting to Storm Davis. And very quickly action begins in the Baltimore bullpen.
Curveball that was hit well down the left field line. Hit hard enough so that Todd Cruz didn't have a chance to get to it.
So a double to lead things off in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Ivan De Jesus. Fly to center in the 3rd inning. Davis started the game by retiring the first 10. Gave up a run in the 4th, but then got Gross to hit into a double play to escape further damage. Squib foul.
You could definitely tell that De Jesus is trying to go to right field to get the runner over.
Right.
I think it's a little too early in the game, 5th inning, to be playing for 1 run just to tie. John Denny has shown that he's settled down. He's starting to pitch real good ball. Had a 1-2-3 inning last inning, and I don't think there's any thoughts of Paulo and pinch hitting in this situation.
Well, it stirred in the bullpen. Now they've sat down again.
Again, De Jesus tries to advance the runner, but can't. And the count is 0-2.
Harold Pee Wee Reese. Little Colonel.
That's not right.
One of the great shortstops of all time. Should be in the Hall of Fame.
One of my heroes when I was young.
What?
And mainly because his name was Pee Wee.
You mean you're younger than Harold?
Yes, I am.
He had extensive knee surgery. Very difficult time with it, but he's really on the road back. Looks great.
The pitch is high, and Dempsey throws down to second on a set play with Ripken cutting in back of the bag.
The thing that makes Dempsey so great, I discussed it with Reggie yesterday, is the quickness of his release. He gets rid of the ball the way Joe Willie Namath used to, and it's gone.
And they both had pretty good arms.
Yes.
1-2 pitch coming to De Jesus. He goes to the other side, and Murray makes the catch, but that's all, as Diaz wasn't straying very far off second and gets back. So Ivan had the right idea but couldn't deliver.
Well, that was a good piece of base running by Bo Diaz. There's a lot of ball players, when that ball came off the bat, would have taken that 3 or 4 extra steps. He hits it right down the first baseline. Bo can take his time, because if that ball goes down the right field line fair, he can walk home. So there's no sense in taking that 1 or 2 extra steps and getting yourself picked off at second base.
Now Denny at the plate, and that one gets by Dempsey. So of all things now, Diaz goes to third. Gotta love this game. The guy goes up there to try to hit the ball to the right side, can't get him over. The runner is still at second. Next thing you know, the ball gets away from the catcher.
And De Jesus did everything he was supposed to do to try to get it. This has to be a pass ball, and what has to happen, I think, is there was a cross up in signs. It didn't look like Dempsey was looking for a fastball right there.
Now Altobelli goes to the mound, and they have scored at a wild pitch.
Scored at a wild pitch, eh?
They have.
I was wrong again.
Well, that's really borderline. Normally the rule of thumb is if it bounces first, they'll score at a wild pitch, otherwise pass ball, and that was right on the edge.
Yeah, but that's another reason I'm sitting up here in the booth.
No, it's not.
You can't be wrong on
everybody has their opinion.
It's so easy to second guess. There's Sammy Stewart up now, throwing in the bullpen. In the meantime, they second guessed Paul Owens to death after last night's game. Nobody said the guy had LaFay properly placed in the lineup when he doubled and knocked in the Phillies' run.
Denny is a tremendous bunter, and it's illustrated right there. 17 sacrifice bunts. The infield is in. What about the possibility of a squeeze here?
Definitely a possibility to squeeze, and that's one of the reasons I think Joe Altobelli went out there.
But he doesn't. He goes to left field on a line, and it's not caught, but Diaz has to scramble home, and the throw hits him. So he is safe. Denny is on his way to second. The throw from Davis gets by Dower and is backed up by Bumbry. What a break for the Phillies on a ball that Lowenstein had trouble with in left field. Diaz was tagging. Now, Bo is not a fast runner. Watch again from high above and see how the play develops here.
Look how close the umpire is, and he called it right away. John knew he still had a chance at home plate, and it was a perfect throw. But this is one of the plays where the manager wants somebody to grab the ball and stick it in his pocket, because it looks like the base runner's just going to keep going.
Once again, on a Diaz is tagging. Chances are, if the catch is made, he doesn't come here. But at short hop, then he starts to come, and then he's lucky that the ball hits him. And Davis picks it up, and his throw is alertly backed up by Bumbry to prevent any further advance. So it's a single, and it's an error charged to the left fielder, Lowenstein, which would mean no run batted in. It's the way they've scored it.
I would think the error would be on Storm Davis.
The throw hitting the base runner. Morgan is the batter. Morgan has struck out and flied out. The word from the score now, we'll give you in a moment, is they will give him a run batted in fact, and contend that Denny advances on the error because the ball hit Diaz sliding in.
And that's right.
Morgan takes outside.
But there Lowenstein is credited with an error on a perfect throw to the home plate. The runner just got there an instant before the ball. And someone said once that they should have a column for team errors, and that's the type of play where it should go in.
Strike to Morgan. Meanwhile, the game tied 2-2.
See right here that Morgan didn't like this call. Looked a little high.
I'm not sure he's wrong.
Denny is at second, and Morgan hits it down to Murray at first. Eddie makes the play himself, and on the play, Denny advances to third. So 2 down, and here comes Pete Rose.
And they're getting good wood on the ball off of Storm Davis now.
Rose has struck out and singled, scored the Philadelphia run in the 4th inning, their first run. Denning at third, 2 down. Swung late at a fastball. 0-1.
Man finds so many ways to beat you. Al, you pointed it out with his instinctive base running on the Mike Schmidt pop that fell among 3 players. Looks the field over, can hit in all places.
And you can see that he's shortened up that swing on this and that, just trying to make contact and hit the ball to left field. Hit a breaking ball last time up.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count.
Meanwhile, there are 3 balloons floating around in left field, and they haven't stopped play to take them off the playing area.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Rose.
Looks to me like Storm Davis is reaching way back now to try to keep that fastball over 90 miles an hour.
To left center field, a base hit, and it gets by Bunbury. Rose around second, around first, and into second as Denny scores. It's 3-2.
He is answering back for being benched last night. He gets his opportunity, and professional that he is, he comes through. What a remarkable, intense competitor.
Here it is again. High fastball hitter, we said earlier, and that's what it was.
And
now, there's an AstroTurf bounce, and I just don't see how they can give a fella an error on that play. It should be scored as a double.
That's the way I marked it. I don't care what the scorer does. In the meantime, you knew it. He was going in that direction. He just punched that ball out there.
Pete has always taken what he's been given. You're going to pitch him away as a left-handed batter, he'll go there with you. 3-2, Philadelphia on top as Mike Schmidt comes up. Schmidt has struck out and singled. Rose was given a double, no error on the play.
What interests me is the way they're staying with Davis, and Stewart has stopped warming up.
It looked like, well, Stewart's ready. That's why he stopped warming up. He was up the inning before, and he's ready to come in the ball game. But yes, it seems like he's staying with Storm Davis just a little bit too long.
Mike Schmidt singled in the 4th inning to snap an 0 for 13. Rose at second, and it's hit in the air to left center field. Ripken out, Lowenstein in. Lowenstein fighting it and having trouble with his son, but staying with it to make the catch. So the Phillies here in the 5th inning come up with a couple of runs. 3 hits, there was an error. And a man left on. An isolated look now at Lowenstein's throw hitting Diaz, who comes in to score the tying run. So the Phillies on top as they have battled from behind, and we'll be right back after this word from your local station. So we go to the 6th inning. Baltimore scored twice in the 4th, and then the Phillies came back with 1 in the bottom of the 4th, 2 in the 5th. And thus it is 3-2 Philadelphia here in game 4 as Murray takes outside.
You notice, Al, in baseball how often it is when you fail to score a runner from third with less than 2 out, it comes back to haunt you. That's what the Birds did in the inning where they scored there too.
Murray hits a fly ball to center field. Gross, shading his eyes from the sun, makes the catch. And the chant, Eddie, 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 from the Philadelphia fans escorts Murray back to the dugout.
Well, I can tell you this. I know Eddie Murray, and he is feeling better about himself because he knows he's swinging better. He may yet hit one out today.
Lowenstein, flied out, struck out. 0-1 the count. It's going to get a little tougher for the hitters now because the shadow line is right back of the plate. There it is.
And Denny has much better location of his fastball than he did a few innings back. And curveball.
Change there, and the count 1-1.
He's tempting him with the fastball and trying to throw the breaking ball and off-speed pitches for strikes.
One and two now.
And got that one right on the corner.
Beautiful, wasn't it?
Get to see it again. It's tailing away from the left-handed hitter. Got the front part of the plate.
To center field for a base hit. So he threw an off-speed pitch, a breaking ball, and Lowenstein waited on that one.
Now we've run into a hit-and-run situation with one of the better hit-and-run men at the plate in the American League, in Richie Dower.
This is the man who knocked in the Birds 2 runs with a right field single, opposite field.
Dower is 2 for 13 in the series, so keep an eye on Lowenstein as it's wrapped foul outside third. 0-1.
If they do put on a hit and run, I'd like to explain that Richie Dower does not try to pick. There's Lee May. He did an awful lot of driving and runs for me.
And that man drove in a few runs for you,
That's who I'm talking about, Lee May.
Right.
And Richie will not try to pick a hole second base or shortstop. He'll just try to get the bat on the ball and hit it hard.
No balls, 2 strikes to count.
There was an evidence. Looking to go to right field.
Yes, and if you were noticing on this split screenshot, John Lowenstein, the first base, is giving no indication that he might be running. We'll watch him here.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Short lead, a good base runner that's thinking about stealing bases will try to get all the way up to the turf, have 1 foot at least off of the dirt.
Denny taking a lot of time between pitches here, uncharacteristic of him. That's grounded fair by third, and Matthews will have to charge in to make the play. They will still hold the runner at third as Cal Ripken put out the stop sign for Lowenstein, and Dower winds up with a double. So the Birds on their way back with runners at second and third.
If Ripken had decided to let him go, it was going to be a close play at home plate.
I believe he would have made it. I question what Cal did there.
Well, this ball here came back into the center of field. Lowenstein, as he rounded second, had intentions of going, but Gary Matthews comes in pretty quick.
And that's about as tough a play as a left fielder can possibly have. As you see it again, Matthews, number one, has to think that maybe it won't hit the railing, and he has to go down into the corner. And then, of course, he has no option. He has to protect against that, and it caroms back out as Osteen visits the mound. And in the bullpen, Ron Reed is heating up.
Now a decision to be made by Altobelli.
Meanwhile, following this one, a reminder, stay tuned, number 1 ranked Nebraska in action against Missouri. So you'll have a chance to watch the number 1 team in the country, the Cornhuskers, following Game 4 of the World Series. Nebraska with the number 1 offense in the country. Meanwhile, Osteen has visited the mound, and Joe Nolan has come out of the Baltimore dugout, and there he is, the other catcher. He had been platooned somewhat with Dempsey during the regular season, and he will bat here for Cruz in the 6th inning.
I suspect that Joe may turn to what you suggested a few days ago, Earl. Move Rich Dower to third and put Sakata at second. No?
Yes, there's a good chance of that. I'm thinking here that Baltimore only has 2 catchers, and he's using Joe Nolan in a pinch hit situation here. I'm wondering if
to get a walk as well.
might have to go behind the plate.
Well, they're going to walk Nolan.
If anything should happen to Dempsey.
That's exactly what has to happen. And that's happened this year. And as you recall, it was Sakata who was catching one night against Toronto and wound up hitting a home run to win the game. As Singleton now comes out to bat for Dempsey. So with the bases loaded, they will go to the bench. That will take Dempsey out of the game. And of course, Nolan will then stay in the game to do the catching as he moves down to first base after drawing the intentional walk.
Well, I'll tell you this. Joe is making his moves and making them quickly. He's not waiting.
No, he's not.
He knows, too. I mean, this is the time, I guess, you're going to make that move because the way Denny is pitching right now, he may be on the ropes a little bit. You don't want to get too deep because then you know Mr. Holland's going to be in there.
This game has become different from the prior games. This game is a roller coaster affair with an ebb and flow to it and a lot of pressure situations. And I think both the purists and the casual fan can enjoy it.
Well, Joe anticipated a possible base on balls in that situation. It's intentional base on balls. He sent Joe Nolan up to the plate to hit if they pitched to him, but saved Kenny Singleton, a switch hitter, to come up with the bases loaded if they did walk him.
Who is a much better hitter from the left side than he is from the right side.
The one thing that would worry me would be being down to one legitimate catcher.
And this guy has power.
Infield looking for the double play. Up and into Singleton. If you don't follow the game that closely, Singleton is a regular for Baltimore, but he's the designated hitter. And the DH is only used in the series in the even-numbered years. Thus, he's been relegated to the bench. 2-0 the count with the bases loaded.
As you said, Howard, Joe Altobelli's taking his shot early. But that's the ball game out on the bases.
And that's ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. And so Denny is a pitch away from walking in the tying run.
You give him the green light here?
No, I wouldn't.
Nope.
Kenny's got a good eye, and he can be trusted.
Through 99 walks this year. And that's ball 4. So Singleton walks, and Lowenstein trots in to tie the game. And the bases are still loaded, and now they're going to pinch hit for Storm Davis, apparently.
I give Altobelli all the credit in the world.
That's I tell you, that's a pretty close call right there on that pitch. Denny annoyed. And now they'll take Davis out, and that's John Shelby in your picture right there, putting the batting helmet on. The switch-hitting outfielder who platoons with Bunbury. He'll come up here and a look into the Philadelphia dugout. Of course, if they're going to make a move, you always want the pinch hitter to be announced first so that he is officially in the game. Sammy Stewart throwing in the bullpen. Meanwhile, also a pinch runner coming out as Len Sakata goes down to first base to run for Singleton. So there is the only reserve infielder.
And your move that you mentioned before, if Sakata going to second and Dower going to third, is what they're going to do, Al.
So they'll be down to their only catcher. Their only catchers, actually, both in the game at the same time. Nolan will be back on the plate with the emergency catcher Sakata staying in. So Shelby coming up with the bases loaded. Now Owens will make his move. He wanted to wait until Shelby was officially announced. That puts him in the game and takes Davis out. Here comes Owens. This being the second Philadelphia visit of the inning means he has to go to the bullpen. He also had Hernandez throwing, and the call does go out for Willie, who was up alongside Reed. And he'll come in, and we'll see about Shelby whether he'll stay in. He's a switch hitter. 3-3 in the 6th. We'll be right back. A note about tomorrow, 2:30 Eastern time, live coverage of the Ryder Cup golf matches, and that will precede Game 5. Now the starting time, our broadcast time for Game 5 tomorrow, right there, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific time tomorrow for Game 5 of the World Series. As you look at Willie Hernandez coming in.
You got to give it to Altobelli. He's proved he's not afraid to make his moves early. And I'll tell you what's going through Joe's mind right now. He leaves Shelby up. He's a switch hitter, as we pointed out, gets up there righty. He wants to get to Bunbury because he's got Dan Ford ready to put in for Al, right?
Couldn't be said any better. He's really rooting for Shelby to get on. Shelby will stay in the ball game and add defense if he should get out in front.
Infield at double play depth as Shelby takes up and away, ball one. So the third consecutive pinch hitter utilized by Altobelli. Nolan hit for Cruz. Singleton batted for Dempsey. Shelby hitting here with the bases loaded and one out. Score tie 3-3. And that's hit high in the air to deep left field. Gary Matthews goes all the way back, leaps up, and makes the catch somehow. Bauer tags and comes in to score on a sacrifice fly, and a tremendous catch by Gary Matthews, fighting the sun as well as the wall.
I'll tell you, you said every fly ball with Gary is an adventure. And Gary said, when I talked to him about it, I get the job done and I give them a show. Look at the perfect timing of that leap.
Perfect timing.
He is not the most graceful outfielder you'll ever see. You've watched him catch routine fly balls in the series in his very unorthodox and distinct fashion. But as he says, he gets it done, and that's a great catch, especially under the circumstances. It saves at least one run and maybe two more. So it's 4-3 Baltimore on a sacrifice fly with two down now.
And here comes Mr. Ford, exactly as we expected.
Sakata, the pinch runner at first. And you saw Nolan at second, and so Ford comes up, and this is the fourth consecutive pinch hitter utilized by Altobelli, and that ties a World Series record.
Meantime, in this topsy-turvy game, the Birds in front 4-3.
This is starting to shape up. I was thinking back a couple of years ago. Remember Game 4 in Los Angeles between the Dodgers and the Yankees? 8-7, the Dodgers won it. And here comes Owens again, so they forced his hand, as he will probably now go to the bullpen and call in Ron Reed.
But the point is, his hand was forced, and it wastes Hernandez. You agree?
And one of the reasons that Joe Altobelli sent Dan Ford up in place of Gary Renicky in this situation is just what's happening now. Dan Ford has batted off of more right-handers this year than Gary Renicky has.
So Ron Reed, the 40-year-old 6'6" right-hander, comes in from the bullpen. Hernandez departs. Baltimore leading 4-3, and we'll be right back.
You're the umpire, as in television presents You Make the Call. Here's an old one for you. A ball is hit to the shortstop. His throw beats the runner to first and lodges in the crook of the first baseman's elbow. Is the runner out? You make the call.
Finding the best video game system is a tough game to win. Who plays the most games, the best-selling games? In Television 2, add the new system changer and play all Atari 2600 games. The most games, the best-selling games, like Hubert. Enduro. Burger Time. In Television 2 has the most going for it. More games than Atari and Coleco. Over 430 games. Get in Television 2. It's got the most going for it.
Although this difficult play looks easy, a catch is only legal if the fielder has possession of the ball in his hand or glove. So if you said the runner was safe, then you made the right call.
So Ron Reed, who at one time played basketball with the Detroit Pistons, comes in here with runners at first and second and two down in the sixth inning. That's Joe Nolan at second base and Len Sakata at first. And Dan Ford pinch hitting for Al Bunbury at the plate.
Not much difference there. The very point Earl made. Ford is an effective hitter.
Baltimore on top 4-3.
Against both style pitches. Southpaw and orthodox.
2 on, 2 out in the top of the sixth inning. 1-0 the count.
Reed was complaining in the clubhouse of not being used enough. Well, he's going to get his shot now.
Reed at 6'6" to 6'7". Sidearm delivery is tough on right-handed hitters, but Ford never gave an inch on that pitch.
That low home shot gives you an idea now with a pitcher in the background bathed in sunlight and the batter standing there in the shade.
Physically, he's a reminder, Al, of Gene Conley. You remember that side-wheeling right-hander.
6'8", Boston Celtics.
I batted off of him. Looked like he was handing you the ball, or handing it to the catcher, because I never hit it.
Conley, a two-sport man like Reed, fouled away. 1-2 the count.
Oh, the Phils owe a lot to Gary Matthews. That great leaping jump, the perfect timing, has kept this game close.
That's exactly right. It could have got away right there. 3 runs could have scored if that ball comes off the wall.
Two balls, 2 strikes. He couldn't get his bat out of the way, and the foul tip is held by the catcher. As Gary Matthews comes in, he keeps him close. It's 4-3 in the middle of the 6th inning, and we'll go out with another look at that great play by Gary. Of course, when you use 4 pinch hitters in an inning, you make a lot of changes in the bottom of the inning. So you saw Joe Nolan. He stays in to catch, and that's Shelby in center field. He pinch hit for Davis, and there is Len Cicada, who pinch ran for Singleton at second base. And what they've also done, Rich Dower stays in the game and moves over to third.
Rich Dower moves from second.
And a new pitcher for the Orioles as well, as out of the bullpen comes Sammy Stewart. So Nolan bats 7th, Cicada hits 8th, Shelby bats 9th, and Stewart hits in the leadoff spot. Ford batting for Bumbry struck out in that spot to end the top of the 6th inning.
And now you have to hope that Joe Altobelli's hoping that the Baltimore pitching staff can hold him, because he's used most of his players. He still has Gary Renicky on the bench, and but most of his moves are gone. Gary Renicky and Benny Ayala, but most of his moves are gone.
And he also has a fellow by the name of Tito Landrum, who has become a mythological figure in Baltimore with the home run last Saturday in Chicago. LaFay takes a strike as we start the bottom of the 6th inning. Baltimore on top 4-3.
What a pickup this kid has been for the Phils.
Change hit in the air to center field. Shelby coming in. 1 away. And here comes Gary Matthews. Great postseason for Matthews, both offensively, of course, with 4 home runs. And this play right here, it was a sacrifice fly, but it's the key play in the inning because it kept Philadelphia in the game. As I mentioned before, does he have the wall to fight? He's got to leap and time it perfectly. He's looking basically into the sun. To center field, and Shelby is there, and he's having trouble with the sun. Base hit.
It's questionable whether that ball could have been caught or not, but he had no chance once it got in the sun.
So the tying run is aboard with 1 out here in the 6th inning. It looked like Shelby saw it initially and then couldn't pick it up. And at this point, as you can see right there, shielding his eyes, playing it on the bounce. So Matthews is aboard, and Greg Gross is the batter. Sammy Stewart, last night, pitching brilliantly. Faced 6 men, struck out 3.
Did not face a left-handed hitter last night.
But he faced one, Morgan, and he walked him. A strike here. 0-1. Matthews at first, 1 away. just outside. 1-1. Matthews goes, and it's fouled away, so they send him, but he'll have to come back.
And playing him to left field, Lincecutta, the second baseman, was covering second, leaving a big hole between first and second base.
Crowd today at Veterans Stadium is 66,947. Not only the largest crowd in the history of the stadium, most people ever watch a baseball game in the state of Pennsylvania.
And they're seeing a real good baseball game.
Two balls, two strikes. Bullpen has been scintillating for Baltimore, both in the playoffs and the series.
Sammy Stewart worked last night. To me, he doesn't look quite as sharp as he did last night.
Matthews goes again, and that's line to center field, and Shelby is there to make the catch, and Matt, who is down at second, retreats to first. So everything going in Shelby's direction in the inning. 2 out, Matthews at first base, and Bo Diaz will be the hitter. 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for Baltimore. 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors for the Phils. Diaz 4 for 11 in the series.
He's been a solid, tough cookie in this series.
Yes, he has.
A strike, 4 for 11, plus he was the man who was robbed on that tremendous catch by Lowenstein.
Well, they had Matthews running with 1 out, so there's a chance that he might be running with 2 out.
Stewart thinking exactly that.
Nolan now doing the catching, doesn't have the arm that Dempsey does either.
Or the release.
Oh, and 2.
With 2 strikes, a pitcher might allow that runner at first just a little bit better jump also, because he knows if he can get a good pitch in the right spot at home plate, it's strike 3.
Token throw and a balk.
Oh, balk.
That's a balk.
Yep.
Steve Palermo, an American League umpire, calling it.
Here it is. Sammy Stewart is Al said, just a token throw. Seemed to get his feet caught in the rubber when he went over there. Took him an extra step.
Critical
Steve Palermo
mistake.
jumped right on it and called it.
Meanwhile, Altobelli is coming out, and also Nolan visiting the mound, and now most of the infield gathers round.
Well, with that move to first base, he certainly wasn't trying to deceive the runner. He was just running him back. Air and mechanics. Right now, they'd be talking about what they want to do with Diaz and if they'd rather pitch to Ivan De Jesus.
But the count is 0-2. We mentioned, by the way, our best wishes for Donald Davidson. They had a streamer up here earlier.
We just saw a streamer from a plane go all the way Phillies.
Right, but there was one earlier wishing Donald a speedy recovery. That's a foul tip. 0-2 the count.
We'd see some moves if Joe Nolan happens to catch one on the hand and not able to catch.
Throwing out of the sun into the shadows this time of day. It's especially tough to see a hard thrower, and it's hard to pick up the spin on breaking pitches.
It's almost impossible to pick up the spin on a breaking ball.
0-2 the count. What's not pointed out a lot, though, everybody talks about conditions like this, what it means for the hitter. You know who it's tough for, too? The umpire.
That's true.
Outside. They won't normally admit it, but you get the fellas in a casual moment, and they'll be telling you, hey, it's pretty tough for us as well.
Oh, they'll admit it. Guy like Russ Getz not working the series, he'll tell you.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count.
They do have a mask and a chest protector, though, and the hitter doesn't.
Cogent point.
Strike 3. Sunlight, shadow, day, night. No doubt about that call by Pulley. No runs and a hit in the 6th inning. And a man left on as you watch Stewart strike out Diaz, and we'll go to the 7th. 4-3 Baltimore. Back after this word from your local stations. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, and Earl Weaver in Philadelphia. Game 4 of the 1983 World Series. 4-3 Orioles, who lead in the series 2-1. And Ron Reed ready to work in the top of the 7th inning. The 2, 3, and 4 spots for Baltimore. That's Dwyer, Ripken, and Murray. Dwyer 1 for 3 today. Looks at a strike. 0-1.
Amazing thing about the Baltimore lineup. They now have 5 left-handed hitters in the lineup, counting 2 switch hitters against right-handed pitching.
Toward the gap in left center field for a base hit, maybe more. Cut off deep on Matthews. Dwyer is on his way to second, and Gary's throw is not in time. Second hit for Dwyer today. A double to the gap to begin things here in the 7th inning.
And in fact, we're going to get to see this again. Dwyer goes with the low outside fastball into left center field, an easy stand-up double. And we might expect to see Holland. I don't know if Paul Owens would use him if he's behind, but if he comes in, 2 of those left-handed hitters can turn around, and he still has 3 right-handed hitters on the bench.
You don't know this team, do you?
Cal Ripken is 1 for 3 today. 3 for 13 in the World Series. Half swing, he came around.
But of course, that's the strength of this Baltimore team. They've got people coming at you all ways. Reggie dwelt on that in the very opening pregame show. Who are these people that keep coming from nowhere?
One and one the count. Dwyer at second base, and no one out in the 7th inning. One and 2.
There's that outside pitch again that he chased. Pitch seems to be a foot outside. He tried to go with it, but it's just too far out there.
From where he's standing.
And that's called strike 3.
And he set him up for that.
Over the outside corner. Perfect pitch right here. Doubly tough, of course, under the lighting conditions.
It'll get a lot better when that shadow moves behind the pitcher's mound towards center field.
Eddie Murray, 1 for 3. Now 2 for 15 in the series. 1-0 the count.
Seems to be the least bit. Eddie Murray seems to be the least bit more selective in this game than he was in the first.
I think he's swinging much better. Don't you, Reg?
Get a word from Reggie in a moment here.
He's swinging the bat a lot better right now. He's looking at the ball. When you see a guy start taking pitches and be under control, it is a good sign. He had a good swing the first time up, got a base hit. I'm sure he's starting to feel a little more comfortable.
That's outside, ball 3, and Reed slipped off the mound. 3-0 the count. First base is open here Lowenstein is on deck. Claude Osteen foreground and Paul Owens. Osteen's input, of course,
and then
in regard to the pitchers.
Then not in the picture, Bobby Wine, ever present.
And Dave Bristol, and the four comprise what they call the gang of four here. So Murray walks. There's Bobby Wine now in the picture. Wine, the consultant on strategy, and Larry Anderson, who worked in Game 2, is in the bullpen. As John Lowenstein stands in, 1 for 3 today. 0-1.
He was looking for that pitch, took a good cut. Excellent swing.
John hits the fastball real good, both the high fastball and the low fastball, and he's not afraid to look for breaking balls. That's why he does such a great job for the Baltimore Orioles.
The 0-1 to Lowenstein is high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Orioles on top 4-3 in the 7th inning. 1 out, runners at first and second. Out straight back. 1-2. 5-second pause here to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is WXYZ TV, Channel 7, Detroit.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Lowenstein. With 1 out, runners at first and second. And the count now even at 2-2. Now the count is full. All right, Earl, do you send the runners here? Full count, 1 out?
Well, I wouldn't with a left-handed hitter up. Gives if John should miss the ball, it gives the catcher an easy throw to third base, and your inning would be over.
So Dwyer at second, Murray at first. The runners do not go, and Lowenstein strikes out.
Big pitch.
And so Reed has come in. He has struck out 3. Got 4 to end the 6th. Then he gave up the double here to Dwyer in the 7th. Struck Ripken out. Walked Murray. Strikes Lowenstein out. And Rich Doward singled in the 4th inning to drive in 2. Doubled in the 6th inning in the middle of the 2-run rally.
We might have overdone the shadows, but this fellow's going to be tough for Rich Doward. Ball coming out of the shadows, sidearm and right-hander. Rich has a tendency to bail just a little bit, and by bailing I mean step toward third base.
0-1 the count.
Into the bucket, to use the old-time
That's
phrase.
the old-time phrase. Haven't heard it in a long time.
It's what they used to do against Dick Merriwell.
If Reed gets the ball in the wrong spot, though, Rich might be able to do something with it.
He did.
He stepped into the bucket all right, but he also lines it to center for a base hit. And the throw coming in is not in time from Gross. It'll be interesting when we see it again, because he does exactly what Earl says. He steps into the bucket, but he hits it back through the middle, and Baltimore now leads 5-3.
He got himself a high fastball on the inside of the plate and drove it right back through the middle. Close play at home plate. Dwyer is giving it everything he's got and barely slides in safe.
So 5-3 Baltimore. And now Nolan is the batter with 2 out. Reed is due to bat second in the bottom of the inning. So he'll be coming out as Nolan swings late, 0-1.
And the lineup that Altobelli has in there now can really be tough on right-handed pitching.
One and one. Murray at second. And Dower, big day, 3 hits, 3 runs batted in, and scored a run in the 6th. The runner at first. 1-1 pitch missing away. Ball 2. 2-1 the count.
By not running on that 3-2 pitch, they gave Dower a chance to get to the plate, and it paid off.
Sounded like it might hit the bat, no? Or the shin guard, maybe, of Diaz.
I thought it hit the bat.
It did, yeah. There is the call from Pulley. 2-2 the count.
Right there. Nolan couldn't get it out of the way. Good picture of it there.
2-2 pitch coming up to Nolan. Little looper, shallow left field. Tough play to Jesus. Makes the catch and saves a run. So Reed escapes, but another run for Baltimore in the 7th, and after 6.5. 5-3, Orioles. Going to the bottom of the 7th inning. Baltimore 5 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. Phillies 3 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. And Scotty McGregor, whom you just saw in that picture, will be the starting pitcher tomorrow in Game 5.
Let me tell you, De Jesus at the plate made a very big play there on that inning-ending catch, and that was a much more difficult play than it might have looked.
People that have never played baseball don't know how hard that play is, directly over your head.
A strike, and in particular under those circumstances, it was a major play, saving a run here. Philadelphia down by 2. No balls, 2 strikes to count. Von Hayes is on deck. He will be pinch hitting for Ron Reed.
The way it's turned out, the Matthews play and that play by De Jesus has kept the Phillies very much in this game.
Took something off it, and De Jesus goes down swinging. It's almost unfair under circumstances like these. Sunlight bathing the backdrop and the batter at the plate for a guy like Sammy Stewart, who can throw so hard, to take something off of it.
Oh, how hard that makes it. You're so right about that, Al.
Tippy Martinez will start to throw in the Oriole bullpen.
That you knew.
Hayes fouling it away. 0-1. Crowd very quiet right now, and it figures, of course. Their team down 2 games to 1 and trailing 5-3. Of course, if Baltimore wins, then everybody will.
They'll go back to 79.
Well, they'll write about 79, exactly. Talk about.
And Earl Weaver had 3 pitchers in a row to go with.
Up 3 games to 1.
Flanagan, Palmer, and McGregor.
Fellow who might get a chance to clinch it tomorrow if things stay like they are.
2-1, and the Phillies will go out tonight and try to make a trade for Stargell.
This game isn't over. Not yet, not by a long shot.
You're 100% right there. Hope this doesn't offend you, Howard, but you can't run out the clock in this game. Got to give everybody their due chance.
Why would it offend me?
It wouldn't offend you. I know that wouldn't offend you.
What you're telling me is this game has a condition to it, not being controlled by the clock, that doesn't attach to
That's
any
what I
other
was
sport.
trying to say.
2-2 pitch is low and outside. It's also the one sport Bob Verdi of the Chicago Tribune pointed out the other day. It's the only sport where the defense has the ball.
Yep.
Charles Hudson. Yep. Rookie pitcher. He'll go tomorrow.
Interesting thing happening at his school.
Fouled away.
Prairie View A&M. I wonder if it's going to be a trend of the black colleges in the South. Father and son, Pete Rose. And
Young Rose feels a lot better today, even though they're losing right now, than they did yesterday.
Trend I'm talking about, Al, is Charles Hudson had a white teammate at Prairie View A&M. They are recruiting white athletes there, and they apparently are undertaking a whole program of integration. Very interesting story.
Hayes hits it down to Murray at first base. And Eddie makes the play himself. So Hayes grounds out weakly, and with 2 down here in the 7th inning, it'll bring Joe Morgan to the plate as the Phillies go to the top of the order.
Positive, constructive story. I'm doing a piece on it for SportsBeat. Talk to Charles about it.
SportsBeat returns Windsor
in a couple of weeks.
Okay. 0-1 the count on Morgan. Larry Anderson has already warmed up for the Phillies, so he'll be coming on.
Okay, let's go.
Mexico with Phillies.
One and one.
First pitch to Joe Morgan was a good change. Next one, a fastball inside.
Good fastball right there, 1 and 2.
And then a fastball on the outside.
90 miles an hour.
2 out, bases empty, bottom of the 7th inning.
Sammy Stewart had a great second half. He didn't have a real good first half.
So yeah, they were booing him with regularity in Baltimore early on.
Right now, we may be at the peak point of poor visibility for the batter. Right now.
Right now.
Explain why, Earl.
Well, the shadows have almost reached the pitcher. We've said before, even though it was closer to the hitter, that the ball comes out of the sunlight. You can't see the spin on it. And now there's a double shadow. Right on the rubber is the shadow from the lights. The other heavy shadow is the shadow from the stands.
And the 3-2 to Morgan is popped up. Shallow right center field. And it's Shelby coming in. He takes charge and makes the catch. So 3 up and 3 down. To the 8th inning we go. Orioles 5, Phillies 3. And that follows, of course, out to Columbia, Missouri, where Nebraska, #1, takes on the Tigers. College football following the game.
Wonder if we can make it, Alfalfa.
Well, we'll try. Go back and look in anyway. Of course, we'll be back out here tomorrow, and the game will start. Our broadcast will start tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern time, a late afternoon game in Philadelphia. Scott McGregor will be going to the mound against Charles Hudson as Larry Anderson comes in. He's the 4th pitcher utilized by Owens today, and it's the 2nd appearance that he has made in this series. He worked 2 innings in relief in game 2, allowed 1 run, 3 hits. Len Sakata comes up to hit for the first time in the series. Sakata, the only infield reserve for Joe Altobelli, and of course the Hawaiian-born Sakata came in to pinch run for Singleton and then stayed in the game at second base. He is also, as Earl pointed out, the emergency catcher. 1-1.
The Orioles' options, should they lose an infielder, would be either Lowenstein at third base or Gary Renicky. Both have played there. Not an awful lot, but both have played third base.
And there's some talk, Earl, as well, that Renicky may be the third baseman next year. What about that?
Well, that would give them a solid infield, one where they might hit 100 home runs. With Renicky, as we look at right there at third base, possible 30, 35. Ripken, 30, 35 at shortstop, and Eddie Murray, his 30 or 35 at first base. That would be a powerful ball club.
Sakata fouling it away, and the count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sakata, once in a while, capable of knocking one out. We had him on a national telecast hitting a grand slam a couple of years ago. Fly ball to right field. And it's LaFay there to make the catch. 1 away.
That ball didn't seem to be hit that hard, and yet it carried well to right field.
Shelby comes up. He's batting in the 9 spot. It was Shelby who hit the ball with the bases loaded, on which Matthews made that tremendous catch in the 6th inning to turn what might have been a double or a triple into simply a sacrifice fly. 1-0.
As a result, Philadelphia is still very much in this ball game.
Ripped into right field for a base hit. So Shelby is on. And in this hitless wonder World Series, at least until today, that's hit number 10 for Baltimore. Goodyear Blip hovering above Veterans Stadium. Look at that sky, how blue it is today. Cloudless sky, just perfect weather.
Well, we've got a sacrifice situation. Again, the American League pitchers don't go to bed that much.
Schmidt ready to charge in from third. Stewart bunting, but very sharply. Back to Anderson. He goes to De Jesus on to first, and they get the double play. 1-6-4. So he got it down all right, but too sharply. No runs and a hit. Nobody left after 7.5. 5-3 back after this message and a word from our local station. All right, the crowd coming to life now as the Phillies come up in the bottom of the 8th inning. 5-3 Baltimore.
But this is their shot. Rose, Schmidt, LaFay, Matthews.
The number 2 hitter, Pete Rose, has singled and doubled today. He is 3 for 12 in the World Series and takes high, ball 1.
Martinez.
Well, I tell you, look, did you see the way he snapped back at Stewart? You're not going to intimidate me. You could see it in his eyes that time. 2-0.
Well, Peter's going to be trying to get on base any way he can, because until someone gets on, that tie and run can't come to the plate.
Martinez working in the bullpen.
That's ball 3 and the count 3-0.
Asking for trouble quickly here.
Martinez right there.
If Altobelli's open to a second guess, it would be not pinch hitting for Stewart.
And it's high, and so Rose is on 4 pitches. He does the job. He's up there to get on base.
Well, Stewart's into his 3rd inning after going 2 last night.
Here comes Altobelli.
He's not wasting a second.
Mike Schmidt will be coming up. Now you've got Schmidt, a right-handed batter. Then, of course, you got LaFay, but he can switch there in the sense that Lezcano normally faces the left-handers. Stewart's going to stay in here.
The words there more than likely were, keep this fella in the ballpark. He's probably your last hitter. Joe LaFay, a left-handed hitter, coming up next.
So Mike Schmidt, 1 for 3 today, and that 1 hit is the only hit for Mike in the World Series.
That was a pop fly. The bat shattered. It fell among 3 players.
An optimist would say he's due, Howard.
This is a guy who can do it, and do it quickly. He dotes on the low pitch. Dotes on it.
40 homers during the regular season and 109 runs batted in, and he fouls it straight back above us. 0-1.
I think those might have been some words that Joe Altobelli relayed to Sammy Stewart also. That this fella's a real good low ball hitter.
Just ask Jerry Royce. Schmidt won that first playoff game 1-0. A home run off a pretty good pitch by Royce. That was low. Up and in. 1-1.
Things are getting a little sticky.
It's funny how the ball players create the situation. If he loses Mike Schmidt, if Mike Schmidt gets on base, a left-handed hitter comes to the plate. If he brings in Tippy Martinez, then he's got Tony Perez possibly coming off the bench as the winning run.
Or Lezcano, depending on his preference. It's 2 balls and 1 strike to count. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning. 5-3 Baltimore. And Schmidt gets under it and pops it up in foul ground. Not much room, but it might be playable, and is for Dower, and he makes the catch, fading back on it.
Oh, he just barely did.
They really seem to be fighting the sun on the left side of the field.
They really are. They're having a terrible time.
Schmidt gets a what have you done for me lately serenade as he goes back to the dugout.
Here comes Joe. Look at this. Now watch Dower. You'll see the white of the ball, the very end of his glove.
That ball was really up there. I wonder what the hang time on that one was. Oh, my goodness.
Meanwhile, that is all for Stewart. And Tony Perez has already come out on deck to be the pinch hitter. They'll go to Tippy with 1 out in the 8th. Baltimore 5, Philadelphia 3. Back in a moment. Tippy Martinez, 9 victories, 21 saves, had an appendectomy in mid-year. Otherwise, the numbers would be even better, and a great ERA. Comes into pitch with Tony Perez to pinch hit now.
You want to watch where Shelby, the center fielder, is playing. Yesterday, Jim Palmer, a commanding figure. Count 3-1 on Perez. Palmer stopped the game, motioned Shelby more to right center, where Perez has great power. You know this, Earl. And over went Shelby, and he made a marvelous catch on a drive Perez hit that was enabled only because Palmer had moved him over.
Well, Palmer himself knew that he was going to pitch Tony on the outside half of the plate to try to keep him into the ballpark. And knowing Jim Palmer knows where he's going to throw that ball, consequently had him over in the right spot. Now, right now, Shelby is shading to left field. More than likely because Tippy's a breaking ball pitcher and Tony is more apt to pull the ball.
Just a tad. Outfield almost straight away. It's up high. Perez throughout his career has been a gap hitter. Left center, right center. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 out. 2-1. Pete Rose, the runner at first. 1 out. Rose held on by Murray. 5-3 Orioles. Chopper through the middle for a base hit, and Pete Rose will stop at second. So the tying run is aboard as Tony Perez comes off the bench to deliver a single into center field, and Gary Matthews, who's been the big man in the postseason for Philadelphia, will come to the plate as the go-ahead run as Juan Samuel comes out of the dugout to run for Perez.
This is their shot, and Owens is going for it.
And right now there's action in the Baltimore bullpen. Big Tim Stoddard, a fellow that we haven't heard much about so far in this series, is warming up. He can bring the ball in at 90 miles an hour also.
But Martinez is the man you want to have finish the game if you can.
If you can.
Gary Matthews swings and misses, and the count is 0-1.
Well, the Phillies have their chance now. They can't ask for more as you look at Tony Perez in that dugout. And if they come through, it will have been Pete Rose again who ignited, and Tony Perez, the 2 men who were the center of that benching controversy last night.
Foul back. So Martinez quickly gets things his way with Matthews now. 0-2.
Well,
Sarge, the nickname, of course, for Gary Matthews, is there's a look at Stoddard in the bullpen.
Phillies are not without confidence against Martinez. They're convinced, if you listen to them, that he's not as good as he's cracked up to be. Now that's the Phillies players talk.
Ground ball left side fielded by Ripken to Sakata for 1, and he turns it over. Despite Samuel going in hard, and Martinez gets Matthews to hit into a double play. On an 0-2 pitch.
Get a ground ball, breaking ball, hit right up the middle. Again, Ripken right in the right spot, turned into an easy double play. Sakata's a good double play man to throw to first base. The inning's over.
We go to the ninth, 5-3 Baltimore. Well, we've been talking about what? The Phillies are managed by a gang of 4.
The fearsome foursome. Here we go.
Sixto Lezcano takes over in right field. As we go to the top of the ninth inning, Jim Dwyer to lead things off. Ripken and Murray to follow against Anderson, who works out of a stretch even with nobody on base.
Now the vision is much better for the batter.
Yes, it is.
Much better.
And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike.
You may say that vision is better, but it still is a little bit tough. That little line of sunlight in front of the plate is just a tough time of day.
Yeah.
It's just a tough time of day, and it's very, very difficult, as you said earlier, to pick up the spin on the breaking ball.
Dwyer almost runs into the pitch, and the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. And from high atop Veterans Stadium, a look down at exactly where the shadow line is.
You know, something I like to make note. I've constantly been around Morgan and Rose, and they just don't believe the Dwyers and the Fords and the Shelbys. They can't realize that these people are outstanding baseball players, and they refuse to give them credit. They don't want to be beat by Fords and Shelbys.
Yeah,
well, they haven't been beaten yet, but they're close.
It's amazing. The Orioles, very much the same sort of team that appeared in the '79 World Series. In fact, 15 of these guys were there. Team without any true superstars, though right now you can make a case, even though Murray's having a terrible World Series, for Eddie being a superstar and Ripken on his way to that stature. But it's a resourceful club. Rose goes to Anita, block it, pick it up, and make it 3 unassisted. 1 out.
I think as an opposing player, I can see Baltimore epitomize itself back when they did all of the scoring. They used 4 pinch hitters. After that, made 4 defensive changes and a pitcher. And if you add that all up, that's 9 changes in 1 inning overall.
And the efficiency remained. You saw that efficiency in Sakata's execution of the double play, which he does very well.
And a few extra steps in center field with a better arm.
Shelby
gave up a little defensively behind the plate.
Ripken takes outside. Looking ahead now to the bottom of the inning for the Phillies. Gross is due to lead off, but you can forget that. He's a left-handed batter with Martinez in there. They'll go to the bench. Then Diaz and De Jesus due up as they're down to the 6, 7, and 8 spots. 2-0 the count. They already have Lezcano in the game. He's got Kiko Garcia and Bob Dernier as right-handed pinch hitting possibilities in the bottom of the 9th inning, and also Ozzie Virgil.
If you were managing, what would you do with young Ripken?
Well, I'd walk to him before the ball game and ask him, or at least point out that they're pitching him on the outside half of the plate. There's a pitch that got in a little bit, and Ripken had a good cut. It's hard after the success that a ball player's had during the course of the season, 318, 27 home runs, to make them try to adjust for a 5, 6, or 7 game series. But they've stayed right out there, and I'd point that out to him and let him take it from there, Howard.
Rich, what about you?
Well, a guy like Ripken, I just give him a uniform, a bat and a ball, and point him toward where the field is, really, because when you hit 318 with 27 home runs, you have made adjustments during the season all year long.
That's hit in the air to left field and hooking into the corner, and foul on a nice play.
And again, the pitch was on the inside half of the plate.
It's a very, very fine line, Howard. You have to let a guy play and let him do his own thing. Pretty soon he can get full of all kinds of thoughts and his mind can get cluttered. And believe me, in 1983, I'm a witness to that. The guys like Murray, the guys like Ripken and Schmidt that are having their problems, they're doing the job they're doing. They've been here long enough. They've accomplished what they've accomplished because they're able to adjust and work out their own problems.
3-2 pitch to Ripken is foul tip and not held by Diaz, and he took a pretty good shot. Sure did. Right off the mask. So the count stays 3-2.
Get to see it one more time. Not quite sure where he got hit. Right in the mask.
Of course, what happened to you this year, Reggie, was you wanted so hard to come through, you wound up unwittingly fighting yourself, and then you were caught in your own trap.
I could probably give you 99 explanations because I've heard so many. That's a good one, though.
He goes to right field and toward the corner, and moving over is Lestano to make the catch. So Sixto got a good jump on the ball, which is not a particularly easy thing to do right now because he's looking into the sun. 2 down, and here is Eddie Murray, who's 1 for 3 today and 2 for 15 in the series.
Like, nice case in point here. Guy that hits in the middle of the order, Eddie Murray, only 2 for 15 right now, but a big walk when he moved that runner over in his scoring position. You hit in the middle of the order. If you do anything, make any kind of contribution, a walk, a hit batsman, get on base with an error, you clutter up the bases and you got action going because you're hitting in the meat of the order.
Fouled away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
The walk to me was an indication that he might have finally relaxed and that he's going to made up his mind that he's going to wait for a good pitch to hit.
That's right. You can almost watch a guy's body, how he handles himself at the plate, and tell how he's swinging the bat, if he's right or if he's not right.
Ninth inning, crowd is quiet. They'll come to life, of course, when the Phillies come up in the bottom of the 9th inning. But their club right now on the verge of going down 3-1.
You know, I expected this crowd to be a lot more boisterous with almost 67,000 people in the stands. They've been quiet the last 2 days, relatively.
Chopper, right side. Pete Rose will take care of it himself. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. So Anderson does his job. He keeps the Orioles in check anyway, keeps the Phillies close, and we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning in Game 4. Baltimore 5 and Philadelphia 3. Going to the bottom of the 9th inning, Rick Dempsey, who's out of the game right now, talking earlier about Tippy Martinez and his effectiveness this season.
Well, I don't know what has made him that. He has always been that way, Howard. Ever since we were with the Yankees together, I saw him throw that curveball the first time over in a minor league spring training game. I said, Jiminy Christmas, this guy's like Sandy Koufax. I used to watch him when I was a young player. And he's been awesome ever since. I don't think he's ever lost his curveball. He has always had it and always will. And as far as I know, it's the greatest curveball I've ever caught.
And the first man who'll be facing that curveball and the rest of his repertoire in this inning will be Gary Maddox. Tito Landrum, the big hero last Saturday when he hit the home run in the 10th inning that made it 1-0 Baltimore, and they wound up winning the game 3-0. Landrum goes in to play right field. And again, a reminder, college football, Nebraska taking on Missouri following the game.
Irving Fryer.
Your guy Irving will be playing, right?
No, a lot of times players like Tippy Martinez suffer from their lack of size. Tippy's about 5'8" or 5'9", the same as Joe Morgan, and you don't realize how great these players are, how much they can do, how talented they are until you see them in action.
Well, Rick Dempsey was right about one of the best curveballs in the American League.
I'll agree to that. I've swung and missed it a few times.
Gary Maddox takes up 5, ball 1. Maddox hitting for Gross, then Diaz due up next, then De Jesus. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
Did you see the placement, the location of that pitch, Earl?
Yes, I did. And Paul Owens might have the take sign on being 2 runs behind, trying to get a man on base. Great curveball.
Right there.
Get in a situation, too, where Tippy knows he has people wondering about his curveball, and all of a sudden he sneaks the fastball by you.
1-2 pitch to Maddox. There's a fastball chopped on the ground down to Lenny Sakata, who throws him out. 1 away.
There was an example. He got the out with a fastball.
So Maddox is gone, and Bo Diaz comes up. Diaz is 1 for 3. Ozzie Virgil has come out of the dugout. Actually, De Jesus will be next, and then they're thinking about Virgil if they prolong the inning and get to the pitcher's spot. The executive producer of ABC Sports, Bruin Arledge, Dennis Lewin, producing today's game, Chet Forty directing, Bill Morris, our technical director, Peter Lasser, our associate producer, John Bissoni and Woody Fryman, our ADs. 1-1 the count.
There was that curveball one more time, and Tippy will stay with it.
You
It's
see
his money
it go
pitch.
down. Oh.
Line drive, and Sakata can't grab it. It's a base hit into right field, and so the Phillies will get the tying run to the plate. Bo Diaz
having a fine series.
He's at first base. Let's see, will the Phillies run for him now? And they will, yes. Bob Dernier, who has great speed, led the team in steals this season, comes in. He's not coming in to steal right now, obviously. He's coming in because they want the fastest man they can get at first base in this situation.
I know whenever I've played and come to the plate in this situation, whether I played for Earl or Dick Hauser, no matter who the fellow was, or Gene Mock, they were very interested in getting the tying run to the plate. So the opportunity now presents itself where the manager is comfortable now. He's got a chance to win or tie his game.
Yes, he does.
De Jesus at the plate, looks at a strike.
Yep.
And the count is 0-1.
Not really a long ball threat, but he's come through once in a while.
They're near at first base. De Jesus chasing it.
Oh, did he chase that?
0-2.
Not really a long ball threat, but the occasional long ball is there. And in this ballpark, you've got to shoot from the 371-foot mark over to the 330 mark in the left field and left center field area. Ball has tremendous carry there.
It certainly does, and he had 4 home runs during the course of the season.
Foul to the plate. The count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Owens has already used Perez, of course. His power man from the right side. He's used Samuel as a pinch runner. Only the right-handed batter really available to him right now is Kiko Garcia, who has no more power than De Jesus.
Yeah, Kiko can fool you. He fooled us in the '79 series.
I think it kind of shows right here that the Baltimore Orioles, their advantage really is their bench.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count.
Teams are so evenly matched when it comes to pitching, relief pitching, defense, offense. It all of a sudden gets down to maybe a little edge here with Baltimore, and that I think was shown today.
It was pointed out in the pregame shows.
Eddie Murray not even worried about the runner as it's chopped slowly to the left side, fielded by Dower, throws to Murray, and that was a very close play at first base.
It really was.
But they got him for the second out. So 2 down. With Dernier now at second. Old Dower thinking about right there, just get the 1 out.
Here's the chopping ground ball. Dower went pretty far to his left, threw off balance, and became a much closer play because he didn't get a lot on the ball.
There was no thought there at all of going to second base because the tying run was the guy running down the first base line, and now it's moved all the way back to the plate, and that's what they're after.
So it's down to Ozzie Virgil. And while Ozzie can hit 1 out, it's not reasonably expectable because he is not a real good hitter. And it gets down to what Reggie said, the Baltimore bench superiority.
Let's put him ahead. And Virgil's a real fastball hitter, and I think he's going to see a lot of curveballs. Paul Owens would have had Sixto Lezcano, a fellow that knows Tippy Martinez and can hit the ball out of the park to use, but he used him defensively the previous inning.
Virgil made the last out last night and takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. He's the tying run, 5-3. The Orioles on top. 2 down, 1 ball, 1 strike on Virgil with Dernier, the runner at second.
If Virgil can get on, then there's Joe Morgan to contend with, and you got a shot at winning it.
Well, I'm sure that Tippy knows right now. He knows what the task is at hand.
Low, ball 2. 2-1 on Virgil.
And behind Morgan, Pete Rose.
Oh. In that Houston-Philadelphia playoff series, the Phillies came back miraculously. They were down 3 runs. Remember, Al?
Absolutely. A 5. 3 balls.
strike.
Nolan Ryan butchered a Bob Boone double play ball, and the Phillies exploded with Rose, the fulcrum of the action.
3-1 the count.
It'll be very interesting to see what Tippy thinks his best pitch is right now, or the one he has most control of. This is the one he's going to throw right now.
Fastball for a strike. Full count.
That was the one time that Virgil could have sat on the fastball. And sitting on the fastball, I mean, really look for it on the inside half of the plate and have a real big cut.
That's exactly correct, Earl. I know in that situation right there, if I was hitting, you only got one shot. You got to look for a ball in. You got to get the bat head out and give your team a chance to tie the ball game, and that's with one big swing.
3-2 pitch is hit right back through the middle, and it's a base hit. They will wave their near in, and so the winning run will be Morgan. It's 5-4.
He came right back with another fastball. Virgil was ready for it this time. It wasn't the same type of pitch that could be hit out of the park. It was on the outside half of the plate, and Virgil had to go up the middle, but he kept the rally alive.
You're going to tell me this isn't tension?
Joe Morgan, who is 0 for 4 today, 4 for 15 in the series, who has hit 2 home runs in the series, both off left-handers, is the winning run.
First run scored off the Baltimore relievers in this series.
You saw the time called by Frank Bully.
Crowd is going crazy. They've seen the Phillies respond in situations like this before. Morgan won't give any ground, as you have seen, against any left-handed pitcher.
Everybody is standing at the bat. A strike. 0-1.
Seemed to be standing there measuring that curveball. Tippy knows that he hit Scott McGregor's curveball out of the ballpark.
Morgan hits a soft liner to Sakata, and the Orioles are 1 game away from the World Championship. A soft line drive to the second baseman Sakata, and that quells the crowd. And the Phillies go back with their backs to the wall now, down 3-1. Final score 5-4 Baltimore. Back after this from your local stations. And our thanks to Alan Roth up here, Steve Hurt for the graphics, as Game 4 of the 1983 World Series has been brought to you by Chevrolet, official U.S. cars and trucks of the 14th Olympic Winter Games. Chevrolet and you taking charge. By McDonald's, sponsors of amateur sports from the neighborhood to the Olympics. By the Texas Instruments home computer, creating useful products and services for you. And by Light Beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Earl Weaver, Reggie Jackson. So long from Philadelphia. There it is, the final score: Baltimore 5, Philadelphia 4. Baltimore leading 3-1. Stay tuned for NCAA college football. Number 1 ranked Nebraska against Missouri. And join us tomorrow beginning at 2:30 Eastern time for the Ryder Cup golf matches live from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, followed by Game 5 of the World Series from the Vet in Philadelphia, 4:30 Eastern time. Blimp provided by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Travel arrangements made through a promotional fee paid by United Airlines, the official airline of the 1984 LA Olympic Games and proud sponsor of the United States Olympic team.